What's up, Young Bucks, Old Goats? 136, I think we're on. What's up,
Yep.
Tank? How you doing?
What's going on, bro?
Dude, it's a good day, man. I feel good. It's Friday. We got a couple guests on the show, throwback guests. I'm drinking some whiskey, smoking a cigar. We're gonna talk some shit. What else could you ask for, right?
Yeah, dude. Mine started off rough, bro. I had a rough day today, but
What happened, dog?
it's getting better now. That's stupid shit, bro. Really, just really.
It's usually stupid shit, right?
Yeah, it's not even that serious, but it fucked up my whole day from the beginning.
I know, man. It's tough when shit happens. You're like, you get pissed in the moment, and then later you're like, am I gonna remember about this 2 weeks from now? And then you're like, probably not, man. Fuck it. It doesn't really matter.
But excited for tonight's show, dude, and fucking
yeah, man.
Excited for tomorrow too, man. I've been waiting.
Hell yeah. You know what, dude? Let's not keep our guests waiting anymore. I was already late. Let's bring him on. Old show member. He's going Fred to be more high class today, but we know him as the ogre. What up?
What's up, man? How you doing?
He threw on the spectacles too.
I'm doing yeah, dude. Yeah. He's like sophisticated all of a sudden, dude. And I'm down with it though. I'm down with it. And then also I'm almost about to start calling this guy old friend of the show, but it's been the first time he was on, it was about over a year, I think almost a year and a half, maybe almost something like that. And then he's been on a few more times. Of course, we got Ben from Central Utah Paranormal with us tonight. What up, dude?
I'm so glad I'm here right now.
Hell yeah, man. We're going to have a good time, man. You know, I interviewed you already once, and we've talked a few times. And the guy next to you down there, Fred, you can call him ogre. He doesn't get offended. He's always wanted to kind of talk to you and ask you some questions. So, you know, we're bringing him on the show today, and I'm going to let him kind of, you know, dive into it a little bit with you. And I'll be over here smoking my cigar and drinking whiskey. Oh, Fred,
I saw you were representing tonight, so I decided to too.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. That's my dog right here. Hell yeah.
Yeah, so a year. I saw that episode from a year ago this week, and so I've been trying to catch up to everything that's been going on. So I'm a huge paranormal buff. Like when I go on vacations, it's almost like I go on vacations for that. But I'm not part of any group or anything. I just kind of do it on my own. So like I'll go to St. Augustine, I'll go to different places. Like if I go to South Carolina, which I was planning on going, you know, I would hit like the Myrtles Plantation and stuff like that. So this is a huge part of my life. Like since I was a child, it's been like what I've been obsessed over. So I had some things that I wanted to talk about with you because Randy had mentioned that, you know, he had a friend, me at that time we were having our difficulties or what have you. I had all these questions to ask, and I was like, man, you got to bring Ben on the show just for me to just talk to him for a little bit. So I'm glad you're here, man.
Well, I'm glad. So I hope I can help with whatever questions that you have.
All right. So number one, what's your wife think of all this?
So she does not participate. If that makes sense. Yeah. So I know the other guys have heard some of my stories with her, but an experience I had with her was kind of the reason why I started doing it, like as an actual investigator and not just because it was a hobby, you know, it was something cool, something fun. Like I was the guy that had the little EMF detector in their pocket and would go around and like, oh, there's something here. But like before I understood like what I understand now. But yeah, she's very supportive of me. Like she's always like, oh, these people want to talk to you, or gives me phone numbers for people to call. But she's like, I'll just stay home.
See, on the contrary, my wife was like, when she found out the topic of the show, she's like, just don't bring any ghosts home.
Yeah, that's my wife.
It's almost as if like I'm bringing in like dirty shoes or something.
Yeah.
So as far as equipment, I saw that you use dowsing rods. What other things you use? SLS cameras, thermals, EMF detectors, digital recorders. What do you got going on?
Yeah, so I have like 3 digital recorders. I use my most sensitive one to when I'm just doing like 15 to 30-second questions to see if I can get EVPs. And then I have 2 others that I just set around the home or around the room because I mostly do home investigations. Like we go out and do historical sites every once in a while, like when we're, I guess, looking to practice or hone in our skills or just see if we can find something out there. Because, well, I mean, I've been doing just areas around me for a long time, but especially now with the price of gas, it's
Yeah.
damn near impossible to go anywhere within a 50-mile radius and not have to pay $100 to do it. But
And
so I have.
Oh, sorry to cut you off.
Oh no, you're good. So yeah, I use digital recorders. My wife bought me recently. It's called a Scare Bear. It's basically a cheaper version of the Boo Buddy, if you've ever seen that one before. So the Boo Buddy
So
for those,
sorry, Ben, for layman's, can
yeah,
you give us like a little background on what each one of those things are?
yeah.
And by the
So
way, who's layman, dude? Why do you always like, hey, for somebody who doesn't know shit? Does anybody know who layman is?
no,
We just always kind of like whenever, yeah, for dumbasses, we just say lame. Poor guy, dude. He's just stayed in history. Anyways, go ahead.
yeah. Poor guy was probably an idiot.
Yeah, for the
But
village idiot, explain it.
so yeah, so the Boo Buddy is like $350. They make them on at Go Stop, I believe. But it's basically a Build-A-Bear that they put a voice box in and EMF and motion sensor REM readings around the sides. But the only difference between the one I have, here, I'll just grab it. It's right here.
All right, cool. Yeah, let's take a look at this thing. Did he say Build-A-Bear? It's like an actual teddy bear type of thing?
Yeah. So this one is the Scare Bear, the one that I have. And what it does, I don't have a battery in it. Oh, I do have a battery in it right now. Probably dead. But what this one does is it'll play a. Yeah, I can't get this one to turn on right now, but it'll light up and it'll play sounds if there's a motion detected around it, or if it detects EMF, the feet and the paws will change colors from green, yellow, orange to red. If something's like right by it, it's red, and green is more distant. But yeah, the Boo Buddy they'll use, and especially if there's kids, they'll use it as a trigger object and put it in like the side of the room or in a chair in that room, and it will. You can program it. It has an app with it where you can have it say like, "Hello, is there anyone there?" So you can be out of the room and be collecting EVPs with a recorder inside, using the Boo Buddy to ask the questions for you. Because a lot of the time when there's human presence is when you're not getting as much as you could normally.
And the reason that it's a bear is so it could be assuming. I don't know. Why is it a bear?
Yeah, and I don't know because I had never heard of the Scare Bear before. It's a guy on Etsy that my wife found, and she like contacted him and asked him a bunch of questions and thought it would be something that I would like. But I've always thought it was because of less intimidating, something that a lot of spirits may be familiar with, because a lot of times when you're doing investigations to the items that you're using, if the spirit or the entity that's there can understand or remember in their lifetime, if they had something similar to that, it's easier for them to react to that, go closer to it, touch it, whatever that may be. But that's my opinion on why it's a bear. But
we got to get him a little Central Utah Paranormal shirt.
Yeah, should.
Well, but it would be useful as a trigger object for sure, especially if a kid is involved, for sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think you use word banks, right? You do a lot of word bank like applications or what have you.
Yes, and those are things I had to really play around with a lot. So there's one free one, and I hate the name of it. It's called like Ghost Hunting app, and it's like a green hand on the App Store. I did purchase the
Is that the
full
one that
version of
spins
it.
around, right? That's like a radar.
No, so I know that one too. That one's like ghost detector or something like that.
Right.
But that particular free one, it has like 5,000 words that the spirit can supposedly choose from. And I learned if you're like, I tried just leaving it on in areas to see if it was like, because my biggest fear is just picking up on what you're saying and it's trying to fill in the blanks, if that makes sense. And so I did like a conversation at work with some employees or some coworkers, and I'd turn it on and I'd put it in the desk and just have a conversation. And then it has a list of words. And so I'd go through it and like, okay, like was any of these topics related to the things that we were talking about? And 95% of the time it wasn't. But if you want to buy one, the Paratech is the best one. It has thousands and thousands, like tens of thousands of words. And it's always, and I did the same thing with it too. You know, I tested it to make sure it's not just listening to you, whatever. But there was one particular, if you don't, do you mind if I jump into a story real fast?
Go right ahead.
Oh, hell yeah. I was waiting for the first story, dude.
Okay. So, my brother-in-law, his friend, and my sister-in-law are always super curious about like what I do. Like they're a lot more interested in it than my wife. And so they wanted to go out and see if we could get anything. And I was like, well, I've always wanted to go to, like, there was a place where we all used to go, like, party and drink and everything when I was in high school. And it's super secluded, super hidden. And I was like, yeah, I could get there. Like, I'm curious, you know, like, if there's anything there, because I used to feel really uneasy there. And not just because of what was going on there, but just, you know, the things that you would feel, I guess, at night in the desert. So we go out there, and we ended up using dowsing rods, my Paratech, and digital recorders, and I had them scared out of their damn mind in 20, 30 minutes. And I wasn't trying to, but we were getting all this stuff, and then it was like it started telling us to go away and to leave, that we were in danger, that something was coming. And I was like, what? Like, I've had that happen before, but not on everything. Like, it was coming through the Paratech, and when I was asking questions with the dowsing rods, I was getting verification that we needed to leave. And I was like, where is it? Or where is this thing coming from? And on my Paratech, it came up with COP, but it's KOP. So I Googled it. I was like, what does this mean? And it was an African term for beyond the hill. And where we were, it's like almost like a cavern that comes down like this in the desert. So you pull in on one side that's been dug down, and then the rest is all covered, so no one else can see you. So perfect place to hide for a party. But
I thought the cops were coming, and it was like, hey,
Yeah.
You guys are drinking out here. Cops
yeah,
are
when I
coming.
saw cop, I was like, but it's spelled with a K. So we looked it up. Yeah, it was an African tribe word for coming to the hill. I was like, oh, okay.
Oh,
So
wow.
we packed and left. But
Or maybe it was this guy that couldn't spell cop, and he was just warning you guys, like, hey, dude, the cops are coming. Could have been that, too.
that could
So
be.
one of the things that I find works really, really well, and you talked a little bit about it, but you didn't touch onto it. Some of the Huff paranormal stuff, like the Portal's good stuff, but it's really expensive. But I purchased his the SCD-1, spiritual communication device 1, and the results I got off that are insane. And I'll actually play a couple clips from that here that we have, but that'll be in a little bit. But what's your take on that particular app? Which basically what it does for layman's out there is it goes through radio frequencies, a quarter of a second at a time, half a second at a time. You get to control duration, but the theory behind it is that as you go through these quarter, half second durations, for whatever reason, spirits talk to you or can come across to you over that. Have you worked with that radio frequency type change device?
So I haven't used Huff's specific app, but I've used the Spirit Box.
Right, which does that.
I'll grab mine too. Here, just one second.
Yeah, by the way,
You're dealing here with a pro, dude.
Yeah, dude, like don't just pull up random shit and think he's not gonna know, all right, dude? I know you're trying to out ghost smart him, but
No way.
No, I know. I'm just fucking with you. I follow those people on Facebook, and they reached out to the Macho Man Randy Savage the other day. I don't know if you saw that.
I saw it, and it was him. You could hear him.
Yeah, I didn't hear it. I just saw the post. Oh yeah. All right. We got some more.
So I have the two originals right here.
Demonstration.
Okay, we'll go from oldest to newest. And the crazy thing is these are super hard to find these days. Or you can find them, but they're ungodly expensive. So this is the SB7, the PSB7. Turn on my light, maybe. And this is the original Spirit Box. So it scans for different radio stations. You can choose FM, AM, the speed, and if it's going to go forward or in reverse. And this was the SB11, which came after that one. It has a few other features. So it has AM and FM radio. You can scan both at the same time, reverse or forward. And you also get to choose your different speeds. And down here is a feature that is also, which is the temperature gauge. So it rates the temperature of that specific area of the device, if it's getting warmer or if it's getting colder. And you can also use that as a motion sensor, in a sense, like asking spirits to come closer to the device, to speak to you closer. You can understand them better, and you'll watch as the temperature goes down. One of our very first investigations that I did with, so my first partner, his name was Randy, and we set up motion sensor lights from the only doorway in the area that we were at. And we put the device at the end of this path where we were standing, and we asked, like, can you come closer to us? Can you come talk to us? And the temperature drops on the device, and then one of the lights lights up, and then another light lights up. So it's getting closer, and the temperature dropped, like, consistent with the lights. So that to me was good evidence that something was walking towards us that we couldn't see. And we got very clear EVPs of a woman from, like, she had a late, like, 1860s, mid 1860s accent. And she asked us, or Randy said something like, "It's okay, come closer, we're friends." And can't remember what her first response was, but I believe it was something like, "You're here." And it sounds just like a woman saying, "You're here." And you heard it audibly, like, not just through the device. It was insane. And then Randy was like, "Yeah, like, we're here. We just want to talk to you." And at one point, this was when we first started, we ended up pissing her off unintentionally with one of our questions. And the temperature dropped, like, all the way down. And it was like,
remember what the question was?
That pissed it off, or pissed her off.
Yeah.
I would have to go back and look, but I remember Randy asked a question, and we got a response, and the response was somewhat ironic, and we laughed at how it came through. And Randy says something like, "No, like, we weren't trying to upset you. It was just ironic that that's what you said." And then when he asked, like, "Do you want us to leave?" So when the temperature is going down, it beeps. And as it gets closer, it gets louder and, like, at a higher pitch. And Randy's like, "I'm sorry, like, we didn't mean to upset you. Maybe we've overstayed our welcome. Do you want us to leave?" And then it stopped. And it was like, okay, like, that's probably a yes answer.
What does the temperature drop signify when you see that?
So this one goes from, so when you turn it on, it starts out just in the middle at 0. And It goes down to -5 degrees and +5 degrees. And you can't hold the device when you're doing it because it will go off of your body temperature. So it will show the longer you hold it, you're heating up the device, and it will raise in temperature. So you'll always have to have it sitting down somewhere else. I would say it signifies a couple different things because I've had 2 different instances helping people in their homes. Generally, it doesn't always necessarily coincide with like if good spirit or if it's a bad spirit or if it has bad intentions or good intentions. So one particular place we were at, long story short, we came to find out that it was the guy's father that had died on his property, and he wasn't able to tell his son that he was proud of him before he died. And in that circumstance, the temperature went up and you felt like you were standing by a fire. Like it was like getting a hug from someone that you love, you haven't seen in years. And then I've had other circumstances where the whole room gets cold and you can practically see your breath and like it. So I feel like it helps you gauge maybe in a sense what intent the spirit has, but I also
so warm is good, cold is bad. Is that or not necessarily?
And that's where
always?
that's where I don't. For me, I think it's more intention, like not necessarily that it's a good or a bad spirit, but is it there for something good, for a good reason, or is it there just because it doesn't want to leave, or like I don't know.
The
if
cold. You were talking about that cold right now and the smoke coming out your breath and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I got like some Exorcist vibes off that one. Like you remember that scene, when they're in there, the window opens and stuff. So
yeah,
but I guess it depends, is what you're saying. Really.
Yeah. So for me, I would gauge it more with intention than with a good or a bad spirit, because I feel like a bad spirit can also somewhat disguise itself or hide itself to make you believe that it's something good and not something bad. And that's what causes a lot of home issues.
So since you've last been on, have you like full body apparition, shadow people? Have you encountered anything at all like that?
Let me think. So I always get voices. I've seen like apparitions at a young age. I have never caught one on camera. Yeah, like, we have the out of the corner of your eye. You have the like those kinds. I've had at investigations, but I've never had on camera like the peek around the corner or the disappearing body. I've always wanted to catch something like that, but trying to think of like a lot of the things I run into for the most part are residual energies, which is generally like something bad happens and it replays itself over and over and over again at different times in different stages. Like on the Queen Mary, for example, it's a docked ship that's now in, where is it? I've stayed on it a couple
California
times.
somewhere?
Yeah, it's on Long Beach, California. It's right by where the Carnival cruises take off. And when it was in service in World War II, it was known as the fastest ship of its size. It's the sister ship to the Titanic, so it's enormous. So it used to be run with the military, and it was so fast they called it the Gray Ghost because they painted it completely gray, and it would just fly through the night, and no one could ever see the ship. And one particular night, they were following. I don't know if it was an ally ship or one of their own ships, but regardless, they were following, and this ship ran into some issues, and it completely took it out, and it killed all like 400 people. Like 10 people that were in the ship survived, and people would
on the Ghost.
Yeah, on the Queen Mary or the Gray Ghost.
Okay.
And so they docked it later, and it had all these weird things happen. Disney bought it first and wanted to turn it into a cruise liner, and then that didn't work, so they docked it and turned it into a hotel. Then they couldn't keep any people working there, and they sold it to another business, and they started to run into the same issues, but they would find these residual energies throughout the ship. And one night, one of the guys was working on some maintenance at the front of the ship, right where it would have struck the other ship. And he just started hearing the sound of like metal tearing and ripping and people screaming and water. And none of that was going on, obviously, outside, but he was audibly hearing it. And they've documented and recorded lots and lots of other experiences like that there. But sorry, I can't remember what your question was that led us into that.
Well, and just to reiterate, I mean, residual, it's an imprint. It's something really emotional happened there. It gets replayed like a tape, whereas intelligent haunting, you ask a question, it answers back. That's kind of the big difference between the two.
You know what a layman would say? It's like bad mojo, right? There's some bad mojo there or something like that.
Yeah.
Now,
just a bad.
You said it was a sister ship to the Titanic?
Yeah, it was built, like, if you ever look it up, I mean, it looks like the Titanic. Like, it has I think it has one extra smokestack, but it's black, white, red stacks. It's beautiful. I've stayed on it twice, and the last time that I stayed on it was also the last time I stayed on it because my wife got attacked in our room, and that's when I started doing this for real, I guess you could say, and not just as a hobbyist.
That's right. Yeah, you told us about that. The reason I asked about the sister ship thing is because I remember hearing about another sister ship that there is a conspiracy theory that's out there. There was another sister ship, which I don't think it's this one. It had a different name, and that was the one that had some damage, and that they like covered up the name on that ship since it had damage and put the Titanic, and then that's the ship that did the first sailing, but it was already damaged, and it was like an insurance fraud. There's a bunch of conspiracies around the Titanic. Another one is that a lot of very important people, and it has to do with finance and banking, and a lot of these important bankers were on it that didn't want to God damn it, what was it that they wanted to do? Like a centralized bank, was it? Or a Federal Reserve or something? I can't remember the exact details. Maybe you can look it up, Tank, while we're talking. I'm butchering the story, but I'm trying to tell two stories and I'm not telling either one well. First thing is that there was another sister ship to the Titanic, and they did like an insurance switcheroo was the conspiracy theory. And the other conspiracy theory was that there was a lot of important banking people on that Titanic ship and that they wanted to get rid of them. Anyways.
That's interesting, though. I haven't heard either.
You guys never heard of either one of these?
I haven't.
All right, I'm too much into that shit then.
Hey, do you use provocation, or what do you use to try to get these ghosts to come out?
For the ladies or for the ghosts?
So I always, whenever we go in, the first thing we say is, like, this is my name. I'm not here to intimidate you or upset you. I'm just here to have a conversation with you. And then we kind of talk about
that. Will work on women too, by the way. Same exact line.
Well, now it's only women that help me do this, so I guess I'm learning from them. But
hell yeah.
Yeah, so we always go in like, we're here to be respectful and explain why we're there. And you sometimes, if it's something bad, like weird, that's when the weird stuff starts happening. Like it's like, oh, like they know I'm here. Then it's like they want me gone. And that's when the weird stuff really starts happening. But
well, and for
we don't go in and be like, move that chair or touch me, hit me. You don't dare. Like, we don't do the Zach Baggins stuff.
Come at me, bitch. Let's go.
Fuck me. Fuck me.
Well, I mean, for me, like, I'll go to a historic site and I could feel something electric. It's actually a really delicious feeling. Like, and when they go away, you can sense it. So
It
I was
could be
in.
that mullet, dude, that you're growing back there, like me.
So I have some clips that I wanted to play. Randy, you have them all?
We got Tank on the 1s and 2s over there. I don't know if he's got any of them queued up.
Yeah,
Which one do you want to show?
Well, the one that for me was the most disturbing was the I'll see you. I don't know if you have that.
All right. Yeah, let's give him a couple minutes to cue that up, and then he'll let us know when he's ready.
You said it's named the I See You?
I think so. Let me wait. Hold on.
I'll see you, I think, or something like that.
I don't think I got that one. Just so you know what I got. I got Face in the Sky.
Yeah, let's look at Face in the Sky. So the background on this one is I'm in the old fort in St. Augustine, and I'm just going around the perimeter taking photos, and I capture this. Right? You see that orb-looking thing there? Zoom in on that.
Yes,
It has.
so excited.
You'll see it has yellow eyes if you go really into it.
I don't think that's me.
Are we talking about that white thing?
Yeah, but
that it looks like a classic ghost type.
I have a version of here. Hold on, let me see if I can show you here. I guess the resolution doesn't go as high as I wanted it to. I don't know if you can see that.
Hold on, let's
go
over
yeah.
here.
See the yellow eyes?
Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of a glare, but you can still see that they're there. They're present.
Now, obviously, this has nothing to do with the moon, right?
Well, I mean, we're talking about iPhones with pretty damn good resolution nowadays. Look at the rest of that fort, right? I mean, it's not like you're gonna catch something that if you see a moon, you're gonna see a moon. So that's the only photo.
And that's not a lens flare. That's not something flying through the sky.
That's a great.
A lot of times, whenever I post my pictures, I have all these trolls that get on, and they're like, "Oh, that's a lens flare. That's this." I'm like, "No, like it's this."
Yeah.
So sorry, I'm here to play devil's advocate.
I'm always careful about those lens flares because you see them all the time, and so I try to debunk them all. And I have a couple that I'm going to show you that I've debunked as not being lens flares. What do you got on the next one? Just play anything. I want to see what you got.
I could do. Is that a question or no?
Oh, okay. So let me give you the background on this one, right? On Is That a Question? I had gotten Huff's CD1, and I was just playing with it.
Mm-hmm.
And so this one, I had to slow it down at 40% because the idea is these ghosts don't have voice boxes. They don't have bodies. So they speak in fast blurts. So I need to slow things down 50%. So that's what I did with this clip. So if you want to play this, Is That a Question? Go right ahead.
Can you tell me my name?
Yes.
Pretty clear, right?
Yeah.
So
let's do that one. Cool. Let's do that one more time.
Those make me so happy.
Can you tell me my name?
And what makes that one really remarkable is that it's the same voice over multiple channels as it's skipping. So it's bona fide. I mean, it's the same distinct guy asking me if am I asking you a question? Which was I thought was a really super cool response.
Yeah, that's an excellent one too. Like it's.
Do you have any idea who that could be?
No. I feel like I'll tell you my theory is when that SCD1 by Huff was way too crazy. I would turn it on, and you would hear them get in line, and they would say in the recordings, because I have tons of recordings. In the recordings, you would hear them say, "Get in line, it's my turn." So if you think about it, I mean, these guys have never They haven't had an ability to talk to anybody for years, who knows how long. And suddenly you open this thing, it's like a beacon, and they get in line to ask these questions. And it's been 7 years. Those recordings are 7 years old. I haven't turned it on because when I do, the house comes alive. And I can't, like I told Randy back in the day 2 or 3 years ago, like we could run that app in your house, but let's do it in your house. Because
I'm down, dude.
Are you?
Yeah. Hell yeah.
All right. I'm just warning you, man. You're gonna have like crazy. You're gonna see legs and arms that aren't there. You're gonna see crazy stuff.
I'm down.
He's gonna get the heebie-jeebies.
As long as there's no bad mojo, dude.
All right. You should also have one called socks, I think.
Shoes or socks?
Shoes or socks. So before you play it, let me give you the background. So I'm starting to think, is someone watching me? Am I being like somehow through this app? Is someone listening in? So while I'm talking,
Am I wearing?
I paused this so you could keep talking.
Okay. So while I'm thinking, well, let me take off my shoes as I'm talking. And so I take my shoes off, not realizing that, well, I always have socks on. So my question was, am I wearing shoes or socks? But it's a stupid question. You'll see the response. Go ahead and play that.
Am I wearing shoes right now, or am I wearing socks?
So we both respond at the same time.
Am I wearing shoes right now, or am I wearing socks? Socks.
So an intelligent response to a ridiculous question, but
Socks.
nonetheless, it was answered correctly. And what was amazing is that I started to think, am I being watched somehow, either through camera or some other form? So I would do things like I would draw a picture of a bird and put it face down, and I would ask, okay, what did I just draw? There's no way anybody got that. And it got it every single time. You drew a bird, car, plane, every single time.
This is in your house?
Yeah, this was my house. Not this one, the one that I used to live in. But
The next one I got up is the which one was it? Tombstone Ghost.
okay, this one is an orb, and I don't know if it comes across well. But I was in the old what's it called, the Birdcage Theater, which is insane. So this was from the Birdcage Theater. If you want to play that, I don't know if it comes across well. Okay.
Yeah, it comes up right here, like where this picture is. Just
look at
keep
the
looking
painting
right here. Yeah,
Check
the
out this
painting.
painting. Look at the painting. Look at that right there. See that ball?
Yeah.
And then it disappears into the well, into the wall, into that wheel. See, there it is. See, as I go back and forth. All right. That one.
Now what is an explanation for this?
What it is for me, it's a ball of energy that represents a spirit. These are pretty commonplace, especially in places like this. Ben, you see a lot of these, right?
Yes. So I was actually just trying to find. I have one video that, but yeah, to answer that a little bit more too. There's some orbs you can actually, like, when you have a high enough resolution when you're obtaining them, because a lot of people will say, like, if you're using an IR light, they'll say, oh, it was just a bug reflecting back the IR light, or they usually just say it's bugs or dust. And sometimes it is. But I have a friend that has one of those, like, ridiculous, like $3,000 or $4,000 cameras, and he's always taking pictures. Like, he's very, like, he knows cameras, he knows lens flares, he knows how to avoid all of those kinds of things, and he's taking these pictures, and he gets orbs and just like that, like shooting into something, and so he'll be able to, in like high def, slow down and zoom into these, and you can actually see, it looks like they have actual, I don't want to say like cells, but there's stuff moving around inside of them, just like Fred described, like a ball of energy. and some you can actually see faces on the inside of them. But he's the only one I've ever been able to see those, like the high def.
Like one of those old school plasma balls.
Yeah, but then with like a stream behind it, and sometimes you'll see like little arms, or like it's crazy. I'll have to show you guys the link to his stuff so you can see some of them.
So here's my question on this, guys. What we see there in this video, is this something that if you were standing there, you would have seen it with your own eyes as well? Or is this something that's only being captured on the camera because we happen to be recording this? You know what I mean? Do you get my question?
For me, I would say both. Sometimes you see
I
it,
would
sometimes
agree with
you
that.
don't. And usually
I would
that's
agree
the thing out of the side of the corner of your eye. You're seeing the movement, and that's what's drawing your attention to those different areas.
Now you just happen to be recording here, right, Ogre? It's not like you saw this and you
Yeah.
started. Okay.
Well, I'm asking during the whole time, hey, show yourself.
Why are you asking this? Because you thought there might be something, or you had
Dude,
seen something?
are you kidding me? I'm in the Birdcage Theater in Tombstone, Arizona by myself. I was like, of course I'm going to do this. There wasn't a soul there. It was the heart of Corona.
You're like a kid in a candy store. So you said, let me take this chance to ask just to see if something comes up. You hadn't seen anything. You just wanted to see if you saw anything.
Is that
right?
Yeah, I mean, the worst thing about it is that there's a lot of noise contamination. They have a speaker running at the time, so I know I would get EVPs if it was silent, but they had a speaker going on with like some period music and stuff like that. So I was just hoping to get something there, you know.
And that's why I asked too, because the EVP is not something you would hear yourself, right? You would hear when you record it and play it back, right?
There are times where it's audible,
okay,
but usually for me, it's I only hear it. Like if you guys have the creme de la creme of mine is the LC. Do you have that? Do you?
Nah, I don't have that.
I don't got one.
Hold on.
Look, I tracked this little orb all the way to right here, I don't know if you guys don't see my mouse, right?
No, we don't.
Hold on, let me share the screen so you guys see. Share the other screen.
All right, close all your porn windows.
I guess it's not gonna work.
No.
Maybe I can open it up here. See if you can send me that, Ogre, while I'm doing this.
What do I send it to?
I'll see. It's Jonas. Let me know when you're ready. I'll spell it out for you.
Hold on, let me get it ready.
And I'm trying to open up my other one too. So if I look like I'm looking for something on my computer, that's why.
Yeah, jot down this email address Jonas is going to give out, and then you could send anything to him that you may want to show.
Okay, because this one, dude, this is the creme de la creme. This one kept me up at night, and
what is that? What is that you're talking about for the layman? When I say layman, I mean me.
Let me this one that I'm going to play, I think would get Ben's interest. It's I'm by myself with two kids, right? A teenager and a 12-year-old, but I'm by myself in an old dungeon that is 350 years old.
Oh, I saw this one.
And
I sent the email in the little private chat right there.
Here, where is it? Let me send it to you. Hold on.
On the right-hand side of your guys' screen, you should see something that says private chat. You see that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, that's the email address.
And mine's too big to send in an email, so I'm still trying to pull it up over here.
I might be able to share your screen. We may not have audio though, so if we don't have audio, I don't know if that's going to mess it up.
I think I fixed it last time when I tried to do it. I have to click it on my side.
Okay.
Which
All right.
I didn't know until last time.
So I'm going to label this one I see you. All right.
Make sure I've had an ICU one. Oh, that's cool.
Oh, this one's terrifying because it says it's too large. You know what? I'll just play it from my phone.
All right, let me blow up your screen here.
So-
Is it just audio, or do we have to see it?
It's a video. It's a video.
Okay.
But it's really the audio on this thing, right? The most
Yeah.
important part.
Well, what's amazing, if you're wearing headphones, you'll hear a woman cough and you'll hear a demonic growl. Like right when I say the word king, it's really low, it's behind the scenes.
That was me, guys.
But what but the creme de la creme, the scene stealer is the final 3 words. Here, let me.
All right, I put my volume all the way up on my headphones.
All right, here we go.
Pins and needles here.
1675. And we're by ourselves here. This is perfect. Okay. Just walk in front of the camera. I'll see you. That was not
at
me.
the end? That at
Yeah,
the
look
end?
up.
I'll see you. What?
That I'll see you was nobody there with you. That was what you heard. That
Just walk in front of the camera.
that's you.
I'll see you.
Yes.
Now the first hello. Who was that?
That's my nephew who was
Okay,
with me.
so the thing is at the end.
Yeah, but what really scared the crap out of me is that we were in this dungeon, 350-year-old dungeon. We were the only ones there. And I bust out the camera. And what really terrified the crap out of me was that it's imitating my voice. Like
When I heard it, I said, "Why'd you say walk in front of the camera? Did you want it to?"
no,
see
walk in front of the camera was me. But the I'll see
I'm
you-
sorry. The I'll see. I thought it was all you. Like walk in front of the camera. I'll see you. You know, I thought it was all you.
Yeah, I have that. I'll see you in a whisper. I would have no reason to whisper. I wasn't there, and I wouldn't say that. Like that's not something I would say normally. And what the giveaway for me, like if you hear headphones right before you hear "I'll see you," you hear a demonic growl, and it scared the crap out of me because
Let's play it one more time. Let's see if we can pick up on that.
wait, just walk in front of the camera. I'll see you. And you hear that clicking? That's classic manipulation of the microphone. Like classic manipulation. So I've played this for my wife who knows that's not me. I never said that. And the voice it's not quite human. And when you start hearing things imitating human, we're talking demonic. And I'm here looking at, I'll see you. What does that mean? You'll see me at home? You'll follow me home? What does that mean? I freaked out. That is the legitimate time that I will tell you that it went from having a fun hobby to absolutely freaking out.
What was that, dude? You're scaring
Yeah.
me, dude.
That was
That-
on
that
us right there.
That was me.
All right. Let me
Ben,
ask you.
what's your impression on that?
That was super awesome. So I'll tell you my story, and I've never told anyone this story before. So
Uh-oh. Exclusive here. Young Bucks Old Goats. You heard it first.
okay, I'm just exiting out of this other thing here real quick.
Let me ask him before you go, real quick. Ben, excuse me. I want to ask him a question about this thing, real quick. So you were in a dungeon. Tell us more. What was this place exactly? This is out in Tombstone.
No. This is
Okay. Where were you?
This is St. Augustine at the Castillo San Marcos,
The fort that we saw the other picture
the
of.
fort that you saw the picture of. I was
Okay.
I was in the inner belly of it in a dungeon, and for whatever reason, there wasn't a tourist within 100 feet. There was
We're in the
nobody
bowels
around.
of,
So I was and it was hot as fuck. I mean, I was
Now-
sweating my ass off there.
I gotta play devil's advocate here for a second. Was this place? I don't think it was. I think I know the answer, but I want to ask you anyways. Was this place at all advertised as some sort of ghost place or no?
All of St. Augustine is advertised as a ghost place.
Well, I mean, there's specific tours that they go and they take you at, and those are kind of like, I don't think this fort is one of them, though, right?
No, it absolutely is. I came back.
It is.
Yeah. After this audio was captured, I came back. Now I hadn't heard it. So I came back at 10 at night and there were ghost tours all over the place. Like they were buses dropping people off that were ghost tour buses, and this was a huge thing. So
But you were not part of a tour. You were
no,
solo.
I was just on foot.
Okay.
I was just on foot with I was with a reverse like radio scanner that didn't work, and I was trying to pick stuff up, and I walked around the perimeter of the moat that didn't have any water. I got around to the other side, and the feeling was not friendly at all, and I could see like I felt like the walls caving in. I had to take a deep breath just to get the hell out of there. It's one of the few times that I really like. Dude, I had to really pay attention to what I was doing because the feeling I was getting was just insanely negative. It was really, really negative.
It's almost Ben. Almost like compression. It's like being compressed. Like you feel your body being like you can't breathe, you can't talk.
And what I had to do was look out to the perimeter of the horizon to get my bearings back because everything, I was in a moat, so I was already constructed, right? I was in the moat and it felt like it was caving in. I had to look outside just to get my bearings again. But I couldn't get out of that moat fast enough.
I'll see you when you die. What's he saying? That
the fact that it's somewhat quite human imitated me, but it clicks around it, and in the extended version of that, you hear people laughing who aren't there, and some couple talking in Spanish who aren't there. That place is wild. Like if you did, and I know a lot of ghost shows have done, they've done episodes there. That place is insane because it's like 400 or 500 years old, and it's got thousands of deaths in it.
St. Augustine's awesome, dude.
Dude, there's an old jail that is, Ben, you would get a kick out of this. There's an old jail that is up on the road that you get there at 1, 2 in the morning. The gallows where they hang people are right on the street. You don't even have to, it's 1 in the morning. You have access to it. And people are seeing shadow people walking up the gallows in the middle of the night and right in the parking lot. There's nothing you got to do. It's literally, if you can't find a ghost in St. Augustine, then you ain't trying.
Sorry, Ben, I cut you off. You were gonna share something with us earlier.
Oh, you're good. So I'll tell you I'll see you story so I don't share very many of my work stories because not that it's frowned upon, but a lot of them I can't like really tell until I get retired. So I have a few. So I'm a deputy sheriff. I spent the first 6 years of my career working in the jail, and that was where I honed in my skills because it was just negative all day, all night. Negative. You could always, something was always going on. And I was in the control room for the second half of my shift. So they're 12-hour shifts. You spend 6 hours on the floor with inmates, and you spend 6 hours in the control room, or vice versa. You spend on a night shift 6 hours in the control room, and then you spend 6 hours walking around, checking on all of them to make sure no one's tried to kill themselves or like hurt themselves or their cellmate. So you're always walking around, right? And so I was in the control room for the second half of my shift. So it'd be from 11 p.m. till 5 a.m. And I turned on my recorder and my Paratech, and I was asking questions. And on my Paratech, I was like, okay, like where is this person that's walking around doing cell checks? And it said a name, and the name it said was the name of the inmate of the cell that he was walking by. And I was like, what the crap? And I was like, okay, what section is he in? And then it gave the letter to the section that he was in on the Paratech. Just the letter, not a word. I was like, okay, like this is legitimate. And so I use Audacity on my computer at home for my audio files. That's how I slow them down, speed them up, and take out the static so you can hear them better. And so after I woke up the next morning, I plugged all my stuff in and downloaded it to my computer, and I'm going through it. And I would always say the responses that I got back on the Paratech because my recorder, sometimes they'd come through muffled. so you couldn't really tell what it was saying. And so I would repeat it. And so during that conversation, I'm talking to this spirit, whatever, and obtaining this information that it's intelligent. It knows where the other person that I'm working with is at that night. And after like my third or fourth question, and you can tell because in the recording, it's like behind me, and I did not hear it. Like I didn't hear it audibly when it happened. And the thing that annoys me too is there's a ringtone that sounds oddly close to it. And so I don't want anyone to think that I'm getting this sound or this word from that clip that's used on phones. It's on the phone when it's like, I see you. But in the recording, it's behind me. And while I'm asking these questions, because I'm looking forward, like I have a computer in front of me, just like I do right now. And I can't remember what my last question was. And it was probably something like, where are you? Or something like that. It's been years. That was in like 2017. And it says, I see you. Slow. And that was in real time. That wasn't slowed down. And it gives me goosebumps talking about that one. But so I always think it's really interesting when someone has, something that close. I mean, I have lots and lots and lots of stories from the jail, but I have a long time till I can tell the majority of them.
Jesus Christ. That's crazy.
I do have this other one pulled up, so I'm going to try and share my screen real fast if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Show whatever you want, man. Freddie, you haven't even said the good ones, dude, that I know that, like...
Dude, I've got so many tales. It's like, it's crazy.
I mean, you shared them before on the podcast, but it was way back. Maybe
yeah,
I'll talk about that. All right.
I just sent Jonas another video, the teardrop one.
That one's interesting too. I'm still trying to figure that one out.
I had to cut it and make it really small in the video too.
That's what she said. Darren is he's dealing with some bad mojo. It looks like. See, I found out in the house I used to live in. My neighbor told me after a year. He said we were having a couple beers one day in the yard or whatever. After I gotten to know him a little while, and he said, "Dude, you don't know how many people died in that house." And I was like, "Really?" Nah, man, I had no idea. And he said, "Yeah, dude, like about 3 or 4 people died in the like at separate times, not at once. Like multiple people had died in the house, but I never felt any like bad energies or anything like that, even after he told me. But it was weird."
Okay, are you guys seeing my screen right now?
Let's see. I'll share it here.
Okay, so I'm not sure exactly where I got it to because I tried to do it while it was muted. So I might
give us a little background here. Where are we at here? What are we doing?
So this particular area, this was the last one we did that we were asked to go to. It was in March, and one of my assistants, her name's Stephanie, that goes on these investigations with me. She's an active partner with me right now. And she used to work here, and they're remodeling it. And the owner, who's also worked there, he's been the manager for 20 plus years, was worried that the things that they've had happening there was attached possibly to like some of the items that they had there in the office. And so he was like, "I'd really like you to come and check this place out before they take everything out, just in case." And I was like, "Oh yeah, totally." So we went in the next day. And so this was the original office. And you can see the chair with the bear on it and everything.
Now, what type of place is this? Can you tell us what type of place this is?
Yeah, it's actually a hotel and resort.
Okay.
And the owners gave me permission to put this one on YouTube. So this one is currently on YouTube right now. But
and by the way, I have all of Ben's links in the description if you want to check out his social media. Give him a follow, Facebook, YouTube, subscribe, sub him up, guys.
Wonderful. Okay, so we get into this room, and we've been asking questions for a while now. And we'll see exactly what I say. I can't remember exactly verbatim what I say. I haven't watched this video for a couple months until Fred brought up his orb experiences. But I ask the spirits to move closer to the bear, to go stand by the bear, because this was the first night that my wife gave me this bear, and I was like, I really want this thing to go off, you know? And so I start asking that, and then you're going to hear a British man, who I believe is British, some kind of a European accent, will say, "Pardon, sir," and then it says something else directly after it. But you'll also see, when I ask it to go stand over by the bear, you'll see all these orbs instantaneously just all head into the bear, like coming from the sides, from the top, and from behind. And it's super crazy. But okay, well, let me turn on my audio here.
Is the bear in the picture right now? He's sitting on that chair, right?
Yeah, he's sitting on that chair. So this is my IR vision, because we were in complete darkness here. So this
infrared for the layman.
Yeah, so this is my night vision camera.
All right.
You're starting to see orbs moving around.
Mm-hmm.
Behind the bear. And they start heading into the bear. Okay. Can you touch the bear? You see there's a whole bunch that start going towards the bear. Oh. And then that's the voice.
Mm.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was that one. I can hit stop sharing.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool, dude. Now let me ask you this: those little lights, orbs. Do you think that's them, or do you think that's like a way that they can signal? Like, what's the verdict on what those lights, orbs are?
So for me, I couldn't give you 100% an answer. For me, I believe that they were trying to respond to the question that I was asking. I remember asking earlier, like, can you go stand by the bear? Can you move by the bear? Can you touch the bear? And you could tell that I was asking. I'm not like, you go over there now. Like, that's when you don't do that. That's when the crazy shit starts happening. You just don't. You just be respectful. But I believe that it was the spirit or the spirit's abilities trying to, just as Darren here said in the comment, trying to signal that it was trying to give me a response. But I don't know, and I can't explain why. Like, why was there a British man's voice saying, "Oh, pardon, sir"? Like, I sent it to one of my friends from, he's from like a really small like countryside town outside of England. And he was like, "Oh, it sounds like," and he gave me the specific, like, it sounds like an accent from like this area of England. I just can't remember. It was like Buckinghamshire or something like that. But
yeah, and that was pretty clear. Like, sometimes you have to, it's a stretch to think what it is that's being said. That was crystal clear. That was
Mhm.
really, really cool. So
Yeah.
I think each individual, I don't know, and I may be completely in the wrong here, but I think each individual orb is a spirit potentially, and we don't know the answer to that. A lot of times with people with high resolution can really zoom in onto one, and you can see faces and stuff like that within each particular orb. I used to be a very anti-orb person. Like, to me, I wanted to see arms,
Mhm.
legs, bodies, stuff like that. I've come to really I've come to really appreciate what they really mean now, because I've seen them more and more. So,
Mhm.
like, I have one, like, Jonas should have the clip by now.
Yeah. Let me
Check.
put it up.
Okay, so let me set the stage. So I cut the video down because otherwise I wouldn't be able to send it. My dad passed away like 9 months ago, and at the time, a few moments before this video was shot, I saw an empty Coke can just go like this, like just out of nowhere, just spinning. It just spun like this and stopped, and I'm like, what the hell was that? So I started filming, and this is what came up.
All right.
It's been 7 months. I don't even know how that happened. I don't know how the time is gone.
Focus on his cheek on the right-hand side. You guys see that? It was really quick.
I might be looking
Something-
on the wrong.
Yeah.
It's gonna drop around here. Were you able to catch it, Ben?
See, I call this the teardrop, but it's not actually. Like, when I saw it first, I go, "Oh man, he must be talking about something, kind of emotional," and a tear dropped from his eye. But it's not. Like, his eyes are not watery, and you don't see. It looks like a drop of something, but it's not. It's like something
I
that
caught
goes
it.
You
I
see
down.
it right here?
I was looking on the right
You caught
side.
it mid-flight
Other-
right now, right?
Yeah. Wow. Wow.
So
okay.
I'm gonna play it back and just look there.
What? Oh, yeah, that is quick if you're not looking.
And you were sending this recording to somebody, Freddie?
I was gonna send it to my brother.
Okay. And then you notice this thing.
Well, and what's funny is if you let it play, like, you see the dark area between that dark area in the hair, you're gonna see a bunch of lights flickering out.
Rewind that shit.
Let me see if you can see that. Hold on.
It's been 7 months. I don't even know how that happened. I don't know how the time is gone.
Oh, that's so crazy.
What was that?
Yeah, we won't see it here, but you do see the main drop. And right after I shot that, it went around and was on the opposite side where the camera wasn't pointing, and it hovered around me for a few minutes.
So you saw it with your own eyes too? Oh shit!
But I'll tell you,
was that an orb or was that something else?
For me, it popped right out. So at the very time I'm talking about that, it's been 7 months, and where he normally used to give me, he would give me a kiss on the cheek, that's what he did. I start to think that's probably what that was. I mean, the coincidences are crazy. At the moment I'm talking about him in particular, and it popped right out of there. It popped out of my face, dude.
Was he? I don't know if you said it or not, but did he like Coke? You think that had something to do with it?
With what?
The Coca-Cola can? Your dad?
I think that was a pure get my attention move. And that's been happening all day long. Like, since he's passed away, I saw a fork go like this, laying flat, just go while I was washing dishes. I've seen a bag move. I've seen, like, in ways that aren't natural. It's just things all the time. I haven't gotten an EVP. I honestly haven't really. Well, I have tried, but it doesn't pop out. There's just nothing. All I get is a lot of movement and that little orb. But that was something that was recent.
Let me ask you guys something. I I'm really into UFOs and aliens, and that we talk about it a lot on the show and stuff. And whenever something comes out in the news, we talk about it, and when there's the hearings and all that stuff. For me, when you're always looking for like I don't want to say vindication. I really don't care what anybody else thinks about it. Like you talk about this stuff, and people sometimes be like, you're crazy, whatever. I don't really care. I don't need like a vindication. But I also do like when there's some sort of like new revelation. And the most amazing thing that could happen, it could be good or bad depending on who you ask, would be like some like legitimate contact, irrefutable evidence, stuff you see in movies, like, hey, they came and they talked to the president, stuff like that. That would be like, nobody can say no now. You know what I mean? Look, they're here, they landed, there's their craft. You know what I'm saying? Like that would be like the ultimate. For people that are into this sort of thing, is there some sort of like moment, revelation, event that you like look forward to, or like, hey, you see, here it is, now, even the biggest of skeptics can't deny this. You guys get the drift of my question?
I don't think there's anything that I can find that would solve a skeptic's mind. My brother is the ultimate skeptic, and I tell him, he's in Arizona, so it's not easy and I'm in Florida, but I'm like, dude, you're a skeptic. Just come with me one night, spend one night, and let's go to St. Augustine. You'll see what the hell's going on over there. There's nothing I can do to change his mind, because he's all, it's all about the science, and science hasn't proven anything. To my knowledge, I don't even know if a scientist has set up a lab in a place like Waverly Hills or some crazy like insane asylum that's been shut down. Has anybody ever done that? I would think it's pretty easy to spot stuff at places like that. I don't know if anybody's done that.
Do we know anything about any like government funded research that has been done on this subject? Certainly, about aliens, we know off and on, there's, something going on now. There was Project Blue Book in the past, and ATIP and all this other things on the UFO thing. Has there ever been a government funded research done on? I know at one point they may have gone out to Skinwalker Ranch, right? Ben, we talked about this one time.
Yeah.
Maybe that's one scenario. I don't know if is there other ones you can think of?
The biggest one that I can think of, and it wouldn't be government funded, but it would be funded by the Vatican. The Catholic Church has researched so I can only imagine what half of their files are that they have between what they've believed to be demonic possession, or even just the stories that the Warrens have. I mean, they're legitimate stories. They're not they doll up the movies for Hollywood, but if you read the books are darker half the time than what they show in the movies. And they were paid by the Vatican as demonologists. And I believe, what was his first name? Elaine's husband. I can't think of his name now. Ed and Lorraine. But Ed, I don't believe was.
What is his story? Who's Ed? I'm sorry for layman. Who's
Ed and Lorraine Warren were two of the most prominent, famous, if you will, demonologists. And I believe I can't think of the proper term because I don't know Catholicism super well, but it was either he hadn't finished his communion, or he wasn't on the books, he wasn't fully a Catholic, but in his beliefs system he was. I just don't know how to explain that in a better.
What era are we talking about here, Ben?
70s to, I think.
That was recent.
Ed passed in the 2000s, and Lorraine passed in 2018, 2017. I have their book right behind me right now with a lot of their stories. It's called
Ed and Lorraine are the people in The Conjuring, Annabelle, all those movies. They're
Okay.
real. All of those are like based on real events.
Mhm.
Okay.
And at
Yeah.
the end of all of those movies, they show the real audio.
Yeah, the real pictures and the real families they dealt with.
Mhm.
Yeah, but that's a good one. The Vatican probably has a bunch of shit that, like, it's not like they have. There's no. I don't think there's a Freedom of Information Act on the Vatican's files. That's probably
No,
just like locked away or disappeared. Probably.
Yeah.
What is your take on demonic possession and exorcism and that sort of thing, Ben?
So I have never. I can tell you stories about blessing people's homes. I have never performed a blessing, you could say, that resulted in some form of an exorcism. So, and you guys might know this about me, maybe not. So I'm one of those really weird Mormons that everyone likes to make fun of a lot.
I know you're Mormon, but we haven't gone too deep into it ever.
So I served a 2-year mission from 2010 to 2012 in California. And I had the craziest experiences there. And I feel like the experiences that I had at a younger age helped me be prepared to help other people when those things came up. So we used to just be walking down the street. Some of us had bikes, some of us had cars, but this particular area that I was in was pretty small. So we just walked around everywhere. We walked like 10 miles a day. And I was a little bit different of a missionary. I didn't like to knock on people's doors, and like, I like discussions. I don't like arguments. Like, I'm not a confrontational person. So we were walking down the street one day, and this lady comes running out. She's like, "There is something in my house, and there's something wrong with my dad, and you need to come into my house." And I was like, "Okay." And I'd had this happen before, just never to the extent that I will describe to you. So
this was random?
Yeah.
Just randomly? She just randomly walked. Oh, wow.
And 95% of the time, that's what it was. It wasn't usually like you were in someone's house and they're like, "Oh, hey, by the way." It was always someone frantic, scared, terrified. No one believes them. They don't know where to turn to. And so they see, and in California, they just called us the Jesus boys. So they would come and be like, "Jesus boys, come here."
So, but she didn't know who you were and what you did, or no?
She probably knew what we did just because we were always in shirts and ties and have name tags and everything. And so,
but she didn't know you were a paranormal investigator, Ben, or maybe you even weren't at that time.
And I wasn't at that time, but I'd had paranormal experiences all throughout my childhood and stuff. So
she had no way of knowing that. She just knew you were out on your mission. Okay.
She just knew we were one of the Jesus boys, and she thought that she needed us to help her. And so I went into her house, and during those 2 years, I've never felt as close to, I guess, what you would describe as seeing spirits, spirit realm, things like that. And darkness, especially. You could, the discernment of spirits and the discernment of people was very strong. Like, it was a gift, you could say, that when you live that somber of a life and you try and stay that close to what I believe is my God, you have a different perspective of things. And so we walked in to the house, and I'd been out on my mission maybe for a year. And I remember looking up the stairs, and there was, right when you open the door, there was a long stairway and like one of those like vaulted ceilings. So like went straight up to a room, and I could see this like black mass kind of just like there outside the door. And I was like, okay, yeah, something's going on here. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know what's happening yet. And the lady starts telling me, she's like, weird things have been happening in our house, and weird thing. My dad is acting odd. He's not acting normal. He's not himself. And starts telling us about things in her home. And I was like, ma'am, would you mind if I performed what we would call a home blessing, where you basically cast out anything evil that's in the home. You say a prayer and you ask a blessing on the home and the people that live there, that abide there, that they'll be basically watched over and protected. And so during these, I had given a lot of them before, but in the middle of your prayer or in the middle of your blessing, you'll start to feel your throat close off. And you have to almost yell to get your words out because it feels like someone's suffocating you, so you can't complete the blessing, so it won't have to leave. And a lot of people on missions, especially until they learn how to overcome that, they stop and then they get scared and then they leave. So I had already had this happen to me, so I was like, okay, I already know. Like, I was always like, okay, this is going to happen. And whenever I trained people to do blessings later, like, hey, if this is a thing, this is going to happen. And it happens every time. It's not sometimes, it's every time. Sometimes it's stronger than others and sometimes it's weaker than others, but it happens every time.
And this was part of you were trained for this. It's just like something like that they taught you in case you encountered.
It was something I learned. Like, I knew how to give blessings, but I really learned how to give blessings when it was like real time, when it was really happening. Because it was different when someone's telling you about it than when it's happening. And so anyways, I remember I asked everyone that was comfortable. I was like, if you want to stay in here, you can. If you want to leave, like, it's your decision. Because I never tried to push my beliefs or my religion on anybody else. I would just explain, this is what I think you need, this is what I think you have, and this is the route I think we should go. And the woman and her husband and a child, I was like, yeah, you might want to have the kid leave. He was only like 12, and she was like, no, like, he wants to be here and I want him to be here. And I was like, okay. And Dad stayed in the room upstairs. And anyways, I get down, on my knees, I say the blessing, and I feel that very strong feeling that I'm being suffocated. And I kind of yell out towards the end of my blessing, and I close it in the name of Jesus Christ. And you felt like a whoosh come from the top of the stairs, and it went out the blinds, and it split the blinds in half, and they broke, and it was just out the window. I still get goosebumps every time I tell that story. But the missionary that was with me, he was brand new with me, and I always had this stuff happen, and I don't know why that was. I'm glad that I was able to like help people with stuff like that, but he was terrified, and it was the middle of the day, you know. And so
Wow,
we're walking home, and he's just like, does this happen often? And why did you start yelling? And what? And I was like, well, you don't like yell, like you're not like screaming. It's just more of like you have to raise your voice. You have to put more air through to get the words out. And so I'm explaining all of it. And I was like, hey, the next time we have one of these, like, you're going to do it.
oh
And
wow,
this is what's going to happen, because that's the only way you learn to overcome it, is to have that feeling. And so I had hundreds of those on my mission.
wow. Did that guy ever do his own?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
guy,
And
yeah.
he cried after, like, we left. He couldn't contain his emotion anymore, and he started crying. He's like, everything that you told me that would happen happened. And I was like, yeah, like, I'm not gonna lie to you and be like, oh, everything's gonna be fine, and then you start feeling like you're being suffocated and you don't know what to do, or you didn't know what to expect. I learned that on my own, the being suffocated part, and that was, I mean, yeah, it's scary, it's terrifying. And for me, when it happened to me the first time, I thought it was just because I was scared. And so that's one of the main reasons why I don't charge anyone for our home visits. Like, if they want to help pay for gas or something like that, I don't mind. But when I feel that I'm using what I believe to be like a prayer or that kind of a thing, I feel it's very damning to charge somebody for that. That's something I feel that would be looked down upon very highly in the afterlife, according to my beliefs. So that's why all of our investigations are free.
That's one of the things I like. Well, I mean, I would like you to get compensated for them. I don't want to say that but I can appreciate that you do that. Is what I'm trying to say. Like, that's like you're trying to just do a good thing for somebody. You're trying to help somebody.
Mhm.
Real quick, I grew up in the Catholic Church. Then my communion and all that stuff. In a nutshell, what is the Mormon religion, and what are the missions for like the layman? This is a keyword. I think I should re-edit the fucking name of this episode and call it layman,
No, you're
layman's
fine.
terms. So
Yeah.
for somebody who doesn't know what are, because I know Utah's big, right, on them.
Yeah.
What is the
That
basics
was
of it?
so. I guess the basics. We believe God, the Eternal Father, His Son, Jesus Christ, and the Holy Ghost. We believe they're three separate entities, that they're not all the same. Like God is Heavenly Father is not Jesus, and Jesus is not the Holy Ghost. They're all their own person. When we believe that you shouldn't be baptized until it's your decision. We believe that the age of 8 is when you are accountable, when you know right from wrong. And so anyone after the age of 8 can choose to be baptized at any time. You don't even if you're raised in the church, it's not like, oh, you're 8 years old, you have to go get baptized. It's like, this is your option, this is your decision, this is however you feel that you should go forward with your life. And so when you're baptized, basically, and I imagine it's somewhat the same with Catholics, you make promises with God, like, these are the things that I'm going to do. These are the things that I'm like, to love your brother, to help your neighbor, it's all very service based. And then as you get older, you make, like, a lot of people are confused about the temple, but the temple, we believe, is very sacred. It's a place where you go in, make more covenants, more promises with God. You're going to almost obey a higher law, but it's more just like you're promising to only have like relations with your wife. You're promising to live a good life and progress towards becoming a better person. And repentance is a big part of it, being able to repent and start over and try and do your best. But where temples get confusing is a lot of people are like, well, why can't people that aren't Mormon go into the temple? But there's Mormons that can't go into the temple because you have to, within your own self, with your own honesty, you have to reach a certain point in your life where you have done your best to do everything that you can, and then you are found worthy to go and make more promises to continue forward in your life. And it's kind of hard to explain in a nutshell, but that's basically it. So
No, I think you did well explaining that. Now I have to ask, is it a myth or is it an old school thing about polygamy or having multiple wives?
Yeah, so there's two branches off of the Mormon Church. So you have the FLDS.
And I don't want to offend anybody. I'm just asking the question because I want to know.
You won't offend me at all. So there's the FLDS, which is the fundamentalists, which is the Warren Jeffs. That's the polygamy, the Levi dresses, the men are always in charge and the women always have to obey. It's very I don't know what the word is exactly that I'm looking for, but the RLDS is a reformed version of the FLDS. So it's the same, but the men and the women are more equal. In the FLDS, the men are basically the boss, and you do whatever I tell you to do. You marry who I tell you to marry. You go where I tell you to go. And the RLDS is more like men and the women are equal on the same plane. That'd be about the difference between those two, if that makes sense.
So you're RLDS.
So I'm LDS.
What does
So
LDS stand for? Latter-day
I'm
Saints?
Latter-day Saint.
Okay. And where does
Then the other-
Brigham Young fit into all this?
Brigham Young was the second prophet, if you like go with the old school terms. So he was the one that took over after Joseph Smith was murdered.
And Steve Young was a descendant.
Probably the football player.
Yeah. He played at BYU, and that was always like his one of his things.
Hey,
Yeah,
is it?
and then-
Is it? Oh, I just want to ask a real quick question about I heard something about a Utah coffee, and I've been drinking those because
The Postum?
So apparently, I think coffee's outlawed.
So there is a it's not really that it's outlawed. So there is a revelation, you can say, that was given about, it's called the Word of Wisdom. So it talks about basically don't put these certain things in access into your body because they can become addictive or do other things to your body. So it says abstain from hot drinks. A lot of people think that's caffeine because it's coffee. It's not. A lot of people are like, oh, you can't have a Coke. I'm like, yeah, I can. But it's more of a health code. So it's not that you have to completely abstain from them, but it's like use. I'd have to read it to remember the verbiage, but it's like use in small quantity, not like daily. When it becomes addictive, like when you get to a point where you have to have your coffee every morning, is it an addict problem? At that point, is it something you have to have? Because that's.
Are you guys coffee drinkers?
Oh yeah,
I am.
Like every day?
yeah.
And now think about this for a minute, seriously, because I do like a coffee. I enjoy it, but I also at the same time know I'm probably drinking this out of habit and potentially addiction every day. And it's hard to separate those. Sometimes you're like, am I drinking this because I like it, or am I drinking it because I just have to drink it, or to function? So many people say I can't do that before my coffee. It's crazy, right? Like I've heard stories of coffee drinkers, and they go like a month without drinking coffee, and they start like almost experiencing sort of psychedelic things and weird. The first time they drink after not drinking, I should say. So they abstain from it for like a month, and then the first time they drink after a month, it's almost psychedelic. Coffee's fucking. It's some addictive shit, dude.
Ben, would that qualify as like one of the promises to not drink as much coffee, or it has to be more of like a serious?
It would be more like, and even a lot of Mormons also would use it for different things. They would like compare the Word of Wisdom to other things that could potentially become addictive, like too much television, too much. Like, what do you do the most? Like, one thing I did, I wrote down. I was addicted to energy drinks. I totally was. And when I wrote it down, I figured out how much money was I spending on this one item. If I'm buying this 2 or 3 times a day, 5 days a week.
What was your go-to?
And a can's like $3. I figured I could have paid tuition and a half payment for my college with how much money I wasted in energy drinks.
What were you, like a Red Bull kind of guy or something else?
I was a Monster guy.
Okay.
Monster.
I knew
you remember?
I knew it.
Yeah.
Monster and Buku. Buku was my favorite, and then they
Do
quit.
you
making
treat
it.
yourself to it every once in a while still, or
Yeah,
okay?
because I was able to realize it wasn't something that I needed daily. It was like a treat to be able to
Right.
have it every 1 or 2 weeks.
Yeah,
But
it's better when you do it that way.
It's when it's I have to have this
Yeah.
in my beliefs, I guess you could say, when it becomes an issue. And that's
Like
different
this.
for everyone. You know, it's something that you have to look at yourself.
Yeah.
Like my grandpa smoked from when he was 10 until he was 67 years old. And he quit when cigarettes were like $2 a pack. He was like, "This is insane."
It was
I can't
because
believe
it was more of a money thing than a health.
Yeah, and when he looked back at it, he's like, because he'd buy them by the carton, he wouldn't buy them by the pack. So when the carton was 2 times as much as it was before, he was like, "F this, like I'm done. I'm cold turkey," and he ate saltwater taffy. I remember he'd roll up the wrappers like cigarettes. He'd throw them in his diesel, and he'd open up another one, eat it, roll it up, and do the same thing. But yeah, and
I think moderation, man, is important. Look, this to me, right now, this week, Friday.
What is that, Jim Beam?
I'm having a little Buffalo Trace here right now, but if I would have drank it every day this week, it wouldn't have been as special as today. Now I'm here, we're having some good conversation, we're talking, and I'm really enjoying myself, and I'm enjoying, the drink too. But it wouldn't be the same if I had done it, every day. You know what I mean? That I guess that's when you gotta
say I think there's something to that whole aspect of doing things in excess. So yeah, but I've been pretty addicted to these Utah coffees.
What is a Utah? Yeah, tell us.
It's it could be a Diet Coke or a regular Coke with coffee creamer in it.
Oh yeah,
it's really good, man.
A Diet Coke or regular Coke, and then you put a little coffee creamer in it, and you drink it cold, obviously.
Yeah, that's a Utah coffee.
Oh wow, is this a real thing, Ben, or did he just make that up?
No, I'd say he's pretty close. So we also have it's like a non-caffeinated coffee company that's called Postum that you'll always see in stores in Utah. Like my dad grew up drinking Postum. But my dad also grew up drinking coffee too. But when it became the like, okay, let's try and drink less of this, more of this, and now he just has it occasionally as like a treat, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's like my wife's dad. He has all the drinks in the fridge, and then there's creamers on the side. So that actually made me laugh pretty hard.
it tastes a lot like a float.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you should.
And why are you drinking these, dude?
Me?
How did you come upon them?
It was a story on CNN.
Oh, okay. And you were like, I'm gonna try this.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I gotta try this. I brought it out and was curious, so we just tried it and was like, damn, this is good.
I gotta tell you, dude, I am in my repertoire of alcoholic beverages or adult beverages is now on rotation the Moscow Mule that you introduced one day in the podcast. I love those, dude.
Those are fantastic.
And I tried a couple weeks ago the Kentucky Mules. Have you ever tried those?
No, I know what they are. They're done with Kentucky whiskey, right?
Yeah, substitute bourbon for the vodka, and everything else is the same. I'll make one of those for you, Tank, next time we hang out. The Kentucky Mule. I had those with the bum a couple weeks ago, and they were great, dude. So yeah, moderation I think is probably with anything in life, right?
Going back to the ghost and whatnot, Ogre, I know you've shared some like that. I'll see you. That's pretty crazy. But what would you say is like something that happened to you that you're like, fuck, dude, like this is for real? Like Ben has told us, the goat, I think he said he didn't really have any experience. I have only one for myself that it was kind of crazy. It's not crazy, but to me it was like, what the fuck? Like, I'll tell you real quick. So I was home alone. I have a daughter, a 1-year-old daughter, my wife and me. It's just us. And they were both out. I think maybe she was at her mom's house spending the night or something, and I was by myself.
How much do you have to drink?
Nothing at all.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Just
Maybe I
wanna-
was in the process of making a drink. I have my refrigerator has it's like a French freezer with the drawer on the bottom. It's a double wide, and then it has the freezer on the bottom. So I go to open the drawer. I have the cup in my hand. I go to grab ice, and I hear like fucking like right in front of me, babe, and I fucking like look up and everything, and it was like, what the fuck, like.
That's called post-traumatic stress syndrome, dude.
Yeah, maybe.
I have it, you know. Like I'll be like, "What? Oh, I didn't say anything. Oh, I thought you told me to take out the trash. Sorry."
Dude,
Yes.
and that to me was like, dude, what the fuck is this? Like
It's shocking.
I heard it clear as day. Like there was no
Yeah.
doubt that that's what I heard.
It's shocking when you hear something that no one's there to say, you know, who it was or what, you know, to pinpoint it. I've had a couple things. Like I could tell you a couple quick stories that are really, really cool. For years, I had a woman speaking into my ear, just saying my name, Freddie. And that's happened during like the biggest times of turmoil that I was going through. I would hear that pop up. It's been a few years since I've heard that. I haven't heard it in a while, but that's popped up. And other people would hear it. It would be audible and about a few inches from my ear. So I would
Other
hear that.
people heard this voice.
Yeah.
Oh,
Other
okay.
people around were like, who the fuck was that? And I could hear it as if the syllables were coming right out of someone's mouth about an inch away. So I've had that. But the
Do you
craziest,
have any explanation for this
I think,
or theory?
I like to think it's my mother, but she never said, from what I understand, never said my name in English like that. Because the voice, you know, you could say Freddie in English is Freddie, and in Spanish is Freddy.
And
she,
Freddie, can we share this? You want? I don't know if you want to or not. Anything about your mom?
I don't know her. Like
Your mom passed when you were very young.
I was
right?
1 year old, so I don't know her. Like that. I don't know anything about her. Like I mean, I know I have pictures and stuff like that, and people tell me secondhand stories, but I don't know, like eating a home cooked meal, tying shoes, you know, seeing me off to school, going. I never had it, tucking you in at night and giving you a kiss on the. None of that. I don't know any of that. So those are things that you think about when you go through that type of crap. But I've had that, and I don't know who that is. I like to think, but it's in English, and from my understanding, she didn't really speak English. That's one thing. Now I was at her grave, and I threw water on the stone, and you know how the water becomes darker, like when it's wet, and
The stone turns darker when you
when you wet, it becomes a darker color, darker hue. And I will tell you, within about a second that I did that, like everything. So here's the tombstone. Everything went. Like just within an instant, just like, and it just formed a wet heart. And I started to try to take a photo, but the camera wouldn't work. And I remember saying out loud, I said, "You gotta let me take this photo." And with that, I was able to take a photo of it. I have a photo of it somewhere. So that's something else that happened. But by far, the craziest story was my story of my uncle-in-law who died in '97. And it was April of '97. I was getting dropped off by my wife, girlfriend at the time. And I was getting dropped off because she was going to keep the car that day for whatever reason. And there was somebody walking towards me. I'm in the passenger seat, and she's sitting here, and she's looking at him. And when I turned to look, it's him as he was in life with a blue jacket. His head was just swirling smoke, no legs, just hovering. And he was making the turn. And as I looked at him, he flipped like a light switch, completely went off. And it didn't register. I sat there and I thought, doesn't make sense. I didn't put two and two together. And I looked at her and I said, and I always remember, I said, on the count of three, we're both going to say what the hell we just saw. Because I didn't want to taint her, and I didn't want her to taint me. And so as we started to describe it, it was the same thing, right? Well, we saw this and this and that. And
was she able to identify him? Did she know him or no?
She didn't know him in life.
Okay, she just saw a guy. She saw what you saw, but
yeah. And I told my cousin who lived next door, and he's like, dude, everyone's seen him. Like the day before in broad daylight, he was leaning against this car that he had in life. It was a car that he had for like 20, 25 years. It's like everybody's seen him. So I flipped out. That's the only time that I've ever seen like a full, minus the legs, a full body. I mean, I get jittery just thinking about it. It was the damnedest thing I've ever seen. And I've never seen the way the white, there's a certain color that is so radiant and different from anything you've ever seen. And I don't get shadow people who are completely devoid of color. They're just black. But the way he radiated, I've never seen a color like that. I've never seen a color like that. It's on a palette like that I've never seen. And I was petrified that night. I slept in the park. I didn't go home.
Yeah, I remember you told us the story. It's kind
I
of
was
crazy.
21 years old. And the reason, when I think about it, I understood why he came to me. Like, I understood why he was there, and I had to just let it go. Like, he was really bad to me, like in life, really bad, as bad as you can imagine when you think about stuff like that. He was that bad. So I know he came for forgiveness because I felt it. No one had to tell me it. I like the aura that was being given off was an emotion, and I was just like, yeah, I forgive you, dude. I'll let you, just as long as you're not around the house anymore. I'm done. I'm good with that. I'll forgive you. And I did.
What are those things that people feel, but animals feel them too? Thermal, or I'm saying the word wrong. I don't know what the word is. Like energy that even, living people give these off. Animals perceive them and give them off. What is that called?
Your aura?
It's aura is one thing, but they're not hormones. There's some other type of moans. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking
Moans? About. I don't know what you're thinking about.
Pheromones or look it up, Tank. See if you can figure out what the hell I'm trying to articulate here. Anyways, maybe there was some sort of message. I guess is what you're saying.
No, there was.
Physically.
Look, I know what he was there for, man. Like and that brings me to like, I've been reading a lot about near-death experiences, and this is super blowing my mind. Like, I've come to realize couple separate people said the same type of thing, but in a deeper context than I've ever heard it before, and it's kind of blowing my mind. This would be hard to believe even if it was a movie.
Pheromones?
That's what I was saying. Yeah, thank you.
So check this out. This is what I'm learning. We all
sorry, I gotta jump in real fast. I'm sorry, I have to go.
Okay, man. Hey, Ben. Thank you for hanging out with.
Hey, man, it was nice meeting you, man.
I have to get up in about 6 hours, so I gotta go do some stuff in the morning.
We appreciate your time, man. Thank you so much.
But thanks for letting me come on. It was great to meet you, Fred, and to see everybody else. So
hell yeah.
Hey, likewise, man. It was fun.
I'll watch the rest of this tomorrow and see what else I miss.
All right, brother. Dude. I'll catch up with you soon, man. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it.
Sounds good. You guys have a good night. It was good to see you.
All right. Hell yeah, man. Thank you.
Good one, man.
Yep.
That's
bye.
Ben. Thank you.
Dude, so this thing blows my mind, what I'm about to tell you. This could be a plot for a movie. So I think this is what's going on, man. I think when Earth is like a playground, is like a ride at Disney World, right? And we're off on the side at an arm's length in this world that maybe it's a heaven. I don't know really what it is. And we decide to go on this ride, and we request to go on this ride of experience of Earth. And time is only an Earth thing. So to those people who are in heaven, that going on and living 80 years on Earth is like that. You literally come back and you're like, oh yeah, that was a cool ride. So every experience of us here on Earth is just us taking a ride on an amusement park. It's really what it boils down to. And from what I've been hearing, when you decide to come on Earth, you're told this is how many years you're going to live. This is what you're going to kind of do. You get to choose your mom. That you get your choice. You choose who you want to be born from or born to, but you must not hurt anybody. You must follow these they're called agreements. Follow these agreements. And the reason people found out about them is that when they're in a near-death experience, they're like, I don't want to stay here. the person that's with them says, no, remember your agreement? And they're like, dude, I don't remember shit. And then they show you in the sky or somehow video or the agreement moment when you agreed with back when you were before on Earth. And that's how they're coming to find out about this agreement. So you agree to live a certain amount of years. You agree to die a certain way. Like, so I could want to experience, for whatever reason, I want to experience getting murdered. Could be, right? It's you on a ride going, hey, let's go through.
You can make it happen, dude.
So I want to experience what that feels like. So you're on this ride or about to embark on this ride. It's 80 years and for us, or maybe 16, because let's say you were killed as a teenager, but it's an instantaneous effect. You know, you could be a rock star. You're given certain roles, and you have more or less in this open world kind of like a free reign to do whatever the hell you want. And you tend to forget your roles and you tend to drift off. And people can do bad things to each other. They can kill each other. You could be a Hitler. You could be a Dahmer. And when you die, you always go back to that place. There's no hell. There's just this place that you go to and you learn lessons from what the hell you did. Because at that point, there's an enlightenment. You're like, holy shit, I do remember the agreement and I fucked up big time. So then you could decide to either stay there, wait your time, or just say, shit, I'm going to get on the right again.
Okay, hold on. Can I stop you for a second?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're talking like a reincarnation thing here, right?
Well, you know what I'm really saying?
Yeah.
I think we're in a simulation.
Holy shit, dude.
That's we're coming full circle to an earlier.
All right, hold on. You've opened a lot of doorways here.
A lot of holes.
Yeah. I got to probe into some of
We got to fill them all.
Yeah, I got to probe into some of these holes here real quick before we continue.
I think we're in a simulation, bro.
Well, I mean, for me, that would not be
far-fetched,
if I'm being honest with you. Nobody can really refute 100% that we're not. You know what I mean? There's no proof one way or the other. If we really, other than somebody saying, you're crazy, bro, we're not in a okay, but tell me why. You know what I mean? There's scientists and even, well-respected philosophers that can't refute the fact that there's a possibility that we could be in one. So the part about picking your mother, though, I'm playing devil's advocate here. Wouldn't everybody say, yeah, well, just make Kim Kardashian my mom, or just make, somebody super famous and rich my mom, so then therefore I can be super rich and famous? Or, nobody's going to pick to be a toilet bowl cleaner, right?
Maybe you're given a set. Maybe you're given, you don't have the full roster. You have a choice of 5 or 6. On that one, I might be I've heard it from people saying that that's possible. On that one, maybe I don't feel that one as much. It could be that you're just dealing with a small set and you get to choose from that set. But, and it could be, but the whole point of it being is Earth is a playground. It's a simulation. You decide, shit, I'm bored being in heaven. I want to play in that simulation. That's what I think's going on.
There's a lot of theories, there's other theories that people say sort of that what you're saying, but when we come back, we also are, every time we come back, we're learning more, like you hear, oh, he's an old soul, maybe this, or you ever meet somebody and you're like, wow, this guy really gets it, dude. He knows what's going on. He's figured out some things, and maybe it's that they just have played this game a bunch of times and they're just getting good at it. Every time they come back, they're getting better at it, and they're, learning.
That's one of the possibilities that I think of. Like, I was raised Christian, so I have all that heaven and hell instilled in me and whatnot. I've diverted from that a little bit now as I've gotten older. I feel myself more as an agnostic. So, but I wonder if, like, whatever the fuck we live, 80 years, we die, and then we come back. Whatever, we die in 2080, and then we're born again in 2080. So we live these different lives, but we don't have any recollection of. But then that's why we get those, like, this looks fucking familiar, like, right? Or when they say, oh, he's a natural, maybe before you played soccer, so now you were just born with that thing in you, you're
there's certainly like
soccer god.
innate things in some people, right? That you're like, holy shit, this guy,
Yeah, he's a,
for whatever reason, he's fucking really good at this thing.
Yeah,
And
we pass it off as talent. And you have kids who were born in the first 3-4 years of their life. They're talking about having wives and kids and going to war. I mean, in the very beginning of their lives, they seem to remember that stuff, and then it fades away.
Oh, he was born to do that. You know, you always hear that, like, oh, he's born. Why was he born to do that? Why?
I will tell you, when you started talking about simulation, I thought you were crazy, but the more I think about it,
oh man, I love that.
I think we are.
Real quick to recap the simulation theory that I subscribe to the most, or the one that I think it could be possible, is the Nick Bostrom paper that he wrote, and then he has 3 possible outcomes. One of them is you have to think how far the Earth and civilization is going to go. So one theory is civilization will never go get advanced enough to ever make a believable simulation. So we will never have the technology to make people believe, or not make people believe, put people in a simulation where they don't even realize that they're in a simulation.
Dude, I saw a baseball
Goes
game.
back to video games.
I saw a baseball game on Facebook being played. I thought it was a real game.
It was a video game?
Yeah, dude, it looked amazing.
Well, yeah, you remember back in the day, like your grandpa would walk in on you playing video games, and like
I was doing bases loaded.
Yeah, and they're like,
blow his mind.
Yeah, oh fuck, the Marlins are playing. I didn't know they were playing at this stuff. No, this is
dude. That's true. My dad would freak out at bases loaded, and you look at it now, and it's like, you know, bases loaded is garbage.
Yeah. No, my dad would always make fun of the Marlins. There was like, is he fucking striking out? Obviously, I was playing with the Marlins. He's like, is he striking out like he did in real life? You know, like they always fucking do. Are they losing all the time? And then, so that's one side. One side is we never get that far in advance. 2 is we get far enough, right? Because a fucking asteroid could crash into the fucking planet and we all die. We could fucking nuke ourselves to death. You know, there could be a lot of things that could prevent us from getting that far in advance. Because if you think about video games, they're always getting better and more realistic. And I don't know, 1,000 years from now, 2,000 years from now, 3,000, who knows how far? They're just going to get better and better and better and better. We're going to get more attachments that we put on, you know, more things to make it seem real. 2 is we have the technology, but we decide for whatever reason that it's not ethical to put people in a simulation. Why? Because there's a lot of pain involved, and, you know, there's suffering involved in the human condition, and it's just they don't want to put people, or they're not interested in it, which we would be in that scenario. We're living in an ancestor simulation, meaning we don't have the technology right now to put ourselves in a realistic simulation. Thank you, Buffalo Trace. A realistic simulation, but we do have it later in the future, and then we've been plugged into a ancestor simulation, which is this time right now. Why would they do it? Maybe they want to learn about this time and see how, you know, things were going on around.
Is it like the Rick and Morty when they put the people in the battery?
Yeah, Rick and Morty has a lot of these things that are comical and you know, nature, but realistically, when you think about them, they're like really talking about these theories. And then the third one that he has is you're in a simulation, in an ancestor simulation, really is what we'd be in. And there could be multiple simulations being run. And then you can get into parallel universes, you know, and you know, that's coming out in movies a lot now, you know, Doctor Strange, you know, in the multiverse. And I don't know if you guys noticed that it's popping up a lot in a lot of Hollywood shit. There's a movie I want to watch that kind of deals with it. I think it's called Everywhere at Once. What's it called, Tank? Everywhere, Everything and Everything All at Once, or something like that.
Dude, I've been wanting to watch that. Yeah, I know it's like a Korean or Japanese.
Everything and Everywhere All at Once. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a foreign film, foreign to us.
I heard it was amazing.
Yeah, I gotta watch that, dude. That's on my to-do list for sure. But you ever think about
We're in
multiverse.
an ancestral.
Dude, it has a
simulation.
95% Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, people love it.
Yeah, I've heard good things.
So we're in an ancestral simulation, and we're trying to make a simulation while we're in a simulation.
We would love to make a simulation, but it just doesn't seem like there's the technology to do it right now. All this stuff that I read, it would take like a planet-sized computer to have the computing power, because our brain is itself is like a fucking super complicated fucking computer. If you think about it, all the fucking neurons and all this, I'm just throwing words out, I don't even know what they mean, but all the fucking wiring up here in each one of us, is so fucking complex that
Even mine?
yours maybe not as complex, but yes, even still it would be somewhat complex, Tank. And it's just the technology it's not possible, but in some point in the future it may be. So we'd be, in that case, they'd be running some sort, like maybe let's say we had it right now, we'd say, dude, plug in that fucking Egyptian simulation, dude, let's see how they fucking made those pyramids, dude, and then plugged into that shit, we can see that shit. You could maybe be a fucking, a pharaoh looking at how they fucking built all that shit, or maybe you end up being one of the fucking guys fucking dragging bricks and shit. Who the fuck knows?
Or see a dinosaur simulation, do that shit too.
Yeah, exactly. There's so much. I think, some people say they wouldn't be interested in an ancestor simulation. I'd be like, dude, people love history. People like, I could equate that to the alien thing too. Sometimes they're like, why would they visit us? Well, dude, we look at animals and ants.
We do that all the time. Look, what's Oregon Trail? Oregon Trail is a simulation, right?
What's Oregon Trail?
It's like a game, a really
For
popular
the
game. It's a popular game. It used to, I think it was a board game, but they also have it on like a phone. You basically are in the 1880s and you're trying to get your family from one side of the country to the other.
And where do you play this?
It's on your phone. You can do it on your phone.
Oh, okay.
It was on the computer originally.
How old is this game?
Oh, it's like
From the fucking
30 years old, dude.
Yeah,
it's like really old.
Early 2000s.
No, I think it's from the 80s.
Have they updated this game?
Dude, if it's from the 80s, then it's fucking 40 years old.
Let me see. Oregon.
I'm going to have to research this.
Oregon Trail, bro. Did you go to school or not?
Nah.
That's the game everybody tried to play.
I went for lunch and PE, dude. That's it.
Sorry.
Its first release, you're going to be blown away, 1971.
Oh,
wow.
my
God.
But obviously, like in book form.
Ogre was like 38 at that time.
I was -5.
At that point, what was it? A board game?
It was a computer game. It was made.
Had a computer in 1971, dude.
It was produced by the Minnesota Educational Computing Consortium. But it was also a board game.
Back to the ghost for a second. I never asked this question, and I'll ask him next time he's on. Do they ever encounter ghosts of animals?
Oh, dude, I have.
And why would there be a ghost of an animal? Because I asked that question because why would there be a ghost of a person? And a lot of times people say, well, there's unresolved things. They didn't cross.
We have
over.
souls.
So do animals have souls?
Yeah. I took a photo.
A dog has a soul, dude, for sure.
I have a photo of my dog that died. That you could see her as a ghost. I have that somewhere.
You don't think a dog has a ghost, Tank?
Yeah.
I mean, a dog has a soul?
No, dude. I don't think so.
Dude, when my last dog died, for like a week, I would hear it walking around the house. You could hear the little talons, the little sticks as it gets up off the ground. And I didn't have any other animals. That was the only animal I heard that I had. And you would hear it walking all around the house. And I opened the door one day. I said, no, you got to leave. Get going. And it did. And it never came back.
Oh, wow. Dude, Tank's a dog agnostic, dude. I never heard of that.
I never had a dog really be like part of my family.
Oh, well, that's why you don't think they have a soul, dude.
I don't really care.
I got one right here.
No, I did. I like dogs, but
that's the same dog you brought here one time, right?
Yeah, I brought her over there. She's just older now.
What's her name?
Daisy.
Yeah, bro. They have a soul, dude, for sure. You guys want to do any news before we get out of here? I got a couple stories.
Dude, you know you got to talk about Roe versus Wade.
All right, let's do it.
The Supreme Court fucking took a dub and a L this week. Fucking back to
Double.
back.
Yeah, two of them, and it made the one from yesterday. No one's even talking about it.
What are the two? Go ahead, tell us.
Well, yesterday they made it basically legal to carry a gun anywhere, like, right? I mean, Tank, you'd probably know more about it than
I think it was for New York.
I saw the New York thing.
Yeah.
Well, you know, if it's New York, they're gonna spread it all around.
Yeah. It's in New York now. You can carry with a permit concealed. Before New York was only for home, or if you're like security or something like that.
I
Like,
thought
you
it was
couldn't-
much worse.
You couldn't just be like for self-defense. That wasn't a valid reason to have a concealed permit.
Now, not to get all political here for a second, but we're talking about this, and obviously there's political consequences to all these things, right? So let's just go back 2 weeks, right? Two things to kind of be a clean sweep.
We're losing
See, the
them over.
government's cutting me off.
The
right?
government doesn't want us to hear what he has to say.
Dude,
I think you're back now. You're back.
Yeah, I think it was a clear-cut slam dunk that the Republicans were going to take over the midterms in November. But this move right here, and I'm not trying to play any side of I'm not trying to put a horse in this race. I'm trying to be as neutral as possible. But
That's what I'm doing too.
This move right here, there's in the days and weeks coming up, we will know a little more about how it changes the landscape of things. I could see how a lot of people are going to find lots of reasons to get angry about 6 stuffy white guys, well, 5 stuffy and Clarence Thomas, making changes to
Well, there's a lady too, right?
Oh yeah, I think there was a lady, but I think you're going to see a lot of people have a lot of issues with people making decisions for things that they have no privy part of or anything. And I think that this is going to be a rallying cry for the Democrats. It's going to be a pretty even race, I think, in November. It may even tip the scales.
If this were a football game, Freddie, I'd be like, oh my God, the Democrats just signed like this fucking amazing wide receiver, dude. Now, who knows? Now maybe they could throw a couple touchdown passes.
It's like the Republicans were up by 4 coming out of halftime, and they did an onside kick, and the Democrats recovered.
I would say that they were up by a couple touchdowns, dude.
Yeah, this was a slam dunk.
Like all you had to do was run out the clock, basically, and not have turnovers.
This was Joe Pisarcik, and in New York, 1978, where they hiked the ball and he fumbled, and Herm Edwards picked up the ball, and remember that?
Yeah. I mean, it could be a butt fumble too if we want to talk about the Jets, dude. Because I thought, wow, they've thrown a monkey wrench into this. And I know that the Supreme Court justices, they're all assigned by, their political party. So, they're leaning based on that, obviously. But it's not just for Republicans. I just think in general, it was a terrible decision.
Well, the public is 70% not in favor of today's move. So overwhelmingly, the public doesn't like.
Terrible, bro.
It's a bad move, dude. Now you have incest and rape victims having to take the kids to term. I mean, it's ridiculous.
I think there's still workarounds. People will travel and stuff, but people who don't have the means.
It's going to become like prohibition, where in prohibition you were making dirty moonshine that was killing you. Now you're going to have illegal, in clandestine fucking
coat hangers. Coat hanger stocks went up, dude.
You guys want to start a side business? I think Florida will be full blown abortion, right?
They're on the list to get churned really soon. They're not what they're called a trigger state. Once the Supreme Court said no, it's automatically. Yeah. They're not a trigger.
Like Texas for sure is a trigger, right?
I think so. Yeah,
I think so.
Right.
Like they were trying to do it before the fucking decision.
Alabama, I think.
Dude, Alabama. Missouri, all those states in particular, dude.
Yeah,
forget
countries, dude. Call them countries because they're crazy as fuck.
Oh
Yeah,
man,
because really all you had to do was. It almost seems like fucking
dude, it
the
was a layup.
Falcons. It
This was
seemed
a
like the
layup.
Falcons versus the Patriots, and all they had to do was run out the clock, and then like Matt Ryan starts throwing interceptions, dude. Because,
Oh, and now they're talking about targeting same-sex marriage and undoing that.
well, yeah,
Yeah,
Clarence,
and something about
that's crazy.
birth control, right?
Oh my God, birth control. Yeah, I think Clarence.
Dude,
I
check.
may be misspeaking,
You
but I think
can't
Clarence
have
Thomas
birth
was
control.
saying.
Yeah,
You
he's
can't take
the
birth
ringleader.
control, and you can't get an abortion.
What are you trying to do, dude?
Fucking overpopulate.
I guess people got to put their pull-out game in fucking full effect right now, dude.
And he was the one that passed the New York.
Well, I don't know. Was the New York thing was Supreme Court too?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Oh wow.
it was the day before. Nobody's talking
yeah,
about
the
it.
day
now.
before, literally.
Nobody's talking about it now.
I think that one pales in comparison with the Roe versus Wade. I wish I knew more about it. I still don't understand why they did it. I think there was some sort of case in front of them that they had to make a decision on. But
I got hit from the side with this news too. I didn't really know what the hell. I haven't had a chance to read it, quite honestly. But I'm hearing that they're citing cases from 1880 in their rebuttal as to why they do it. Things from 130 years ago are what's affecting their decision, which is insane.
it's crazy.
Fucking
It seems like we're going backwards, dude.
the Juul cigarettes got banned. You guys heard about that?
Yeah, dude.
Whoa, they appealed and they're able to keep selling them.
Oh, for
Why
now,
why they
Yeah.
ban them?
I guess
they're
'cause
just so bad.
The
dude.
FDA, it was the FDA, so I guess it was bad.
It was like a cancer stick, or what was this?
Oh, for sure it was. There's no doubt about
Well,
that.
that, and then there was the whole popcorn lung shit, and some of the cheap one. I don't know if Juul.
It had to be. It had to do a lot with like the way they were advertising it and shit like that.
Dude,
Like
what
kids
is
don't smoke anymore. Kids do that.
what is a cigarette box go for? Like a car? It's like $6, right, for a pack.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
like
dude.
5 something, I think.
Dude, I remember the days of Bronco. You remember Bronco? Bronco was 98 cents.
You were a smoker at one point?
Yeah. But that shit makes me sick now. Like, if I was to try to do that, I would physically get fucking sick from it.
Yeah.
Anything or cigarettes?
Just cigarettes.
I was addicted to cigarettes for many years, dude. And I mean, I won't touch one ever again, but I still dream about them sometimes.
When was the last time?
2016, I think.
Holy shit, that's pretty recent, man.
Well, it's 6 years.
That's pretty. So if you could take all the money you spent on fucking cigarettes and suddenly have it in front of you on the table, what are we talking about?
Thousands of dollars, dude. I mean, I've spent probably on cigars for sure thousands of dollars, dude, and I haven't been smoking them that long. I had to do this to not smoke cigarettes, if I'm being honest. But it's not nearly the same. Because a cigarette would be like, dude, you could sneak one in at any time. I'm gonna go take a shit, cigarette. I'm gonna go on a car ride, cigarette. I had my morning coffee, cigarette. I just ate breakfast, cigarette. I just ate lunch, cigarette. I just had sex, cigarette. You know, like, and then when you were smoking, you're like, I didn't even want that cigarette, dude. It was disgusting. I just like my habit.
How do your lungs feel?
They feel good, dude. I'm overweight and shit, you know, so that has something to do with it. But I don't think when I've done those tests where they, you know, make you breathe and all that shit, they never really said, you know,
dude,
you're gonna die.
We're all overweight. Dude, I've gained like 30 pounds in the last.
Who hasn't?
Year. Fucking sucks, dude.
Yeah, man.
And then I have a membership at LA. I never go.
Yeah,
you think that like by paying you're gonna go, but like that never.
You never go,
like
man.
getting in that contract.
Yeah.
There's a certain point where I have to make a right to go, and I drive right past it.
I was gonna turn.
Damn it! Fuck. Hey, so when are we doing a live, bro?
We're gonna do it soon. Let's come up with a topic. We got the studio set up, and I'm down to do it. What? Anybody got any ideas? Let me bounce some ideas. I got some ideas right here. Let me find them. I'll tell you what's on my fucking pipeline, and we'll see We'll see if any of these spark the interest. Now, here's some of the ideas I have. The Civil War, but this one I'm gonna have to do remotely, like we did today, because the guy. Do you remember, Tank? Were you on when I had the park ranger on? That was
Yes.
he was. What did we end up talking to him about? Other than we talked a little bit about Civil War and a little bit about the parks. God damn it, I can't remember.
We talked a lot. We talked about the Everglades, how they had moved like the. I remember specifically they had like moved the whole street to like help the mangroves, and then they like brought it over again or some shit. He said it was like the biggest project that Everglades has done.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was a very big like Civil War historian, right? Or in general.
Yeah, Philip Greenwald. He's actually written like a few books, and he's part of some group that does reenactments and stuff. So that's one of my ideas I have coming up. I want to talk about. We never really done any World War I or World War II stuff, which is really.
I like World War II.
Yeah. But those kind of things, like I want to, like we did the old school episodes where we would study a little bit and talk about it. That's kind of my idea on it.
There's a trivia that I got on World. You know what World War I was called when it happened?
Yeah, because this is like Super Bowl I. Yeah, they didn't call it that at the time.
No, they didn't, because they didn't know it was the first one, right? You would have to know that it was the second one to call it the first one. Mm-hmm. So World War I was just called, when it was happening, it was just called the Great War.
And that name, I guess, once we had World War II, went away.
For 30 years, they had to rewrite all the history books in 44 and call it World War I.
History books. Think about when they write the history books about this time.
What's the old saying? Only the winners write the history books, right?
Yeah, dude. Think about all the shit we learned about Columbus and the.
What's the German history book look like?
That book's closed, dude. I wonder what they fucking talk about. They don't really talk about that.
I don't think they acknowledge it, man.
Yeah.
There's like a time skip.
Probably, dude. Or it's like that gay uncle you have
from 41 to 45. There's a little.
No, I think with Germany you skip from 1914.
Well, yeah. You're right.
Because what got them in trouble was the Treaty of Versailles, right? Where they were responsible for causing World War I and had to pay reparations, and what put them in an economic funk, which caused World War II to kind of snowball.
That's crazy. How the fuck did they let it happen again?
Well, basically, they told them, "Yo, your military could only be so big.
It was limited."
And eventually, Hitler was like, "Fuck that, dude. I'm gonna fuck."
He's like, "I'll take over the Czechs. I'll take over Poland."
Dude wasn't even German.
His mother was like part Jewish or something, right?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Was he Hungarian?
Austria-Hungary.
He's right.
Hungary. All right, a couple other ideas I have just to finish that off. A beer sampling along with some history about beer. That was another idea I had that we could do. Taste some beers and talk a little bit about beer and how it's made and the history. Freemasons. I'd love to get a Freemason in the studio that we could talk to. That's another idea I have. I don't know how much you would want to share.
Your dad's a Mason.
He attended, but he's not a full-blown Mason. He was a literal Mason.
No, that's what I mean. He was a literal Mason.
Yeah, he was. He could tell us about
I didn't know that. You just told me he was.
I like to lay pipe myself, if I'm being honest.
Your dad liked to lay bricks.
Yeah, he was a bricklayer. The Illuminati, New World Order, the World Cup's coming up.
Hey, how do you guys feel about reptilian?
I think that's bullshit.
That's you, Ogre?
What is that?
Lizard people?
Oh, the people that do that to their faces and stuff, and then
no, that like people higher ups are actually reptilians and. Okay, we're all on the same page.
You ever kind of seen They Live? You ever seen that movie, They Live?
No.
Roddy Piper, dude. It's a pretty good movie. It's old, it's dated and shit. But he puts on these glasses in the movie, and then he could see what the people really are. And a lot of they're not reptilian, but they're like these kind of weird
like V.
V is those people are actually reptilians. Those would be reptilians. There you go.
You
Yeah.
remember? Did you ever
Except they
see
don't
V
expose
Tank?
themselves. Which one?
You ever see V Tank?
No,
Tank
no.
V,
V
where
is
they were
like
eating rats and shit. It
no,
was these.
not V for Vendetta, right? Not that.
No,
No.
it was just a show called V. That's all it was.
Oh, no.
And they had a reboot of this too.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Nah,
Yeah, those
I
are
haven't seen
reptilians. So
that.
the reptilian theory is that like all these people really running the world are actually fucking reptiles underneath their
Like
fucking...
Mark Zuckerberg, he actually is a little weird looking,
He looks like an android, dude. I would fucking if you
like
told
from
me that guy
Dragon
was
Ball Z.
I don't know
Dude,
anything about that.
his Madame Tussauds like sculpture they made of him out of wax. The one they made out of wax looks more human than him.
Let me look that up, dude. I haven't seen it.
He does not look fucking.
Take a look at
human
it. Take a look. It's crazy.
So sports, it was the Marlins 25th anniversary. That was another idea I had, and that's pretty much all I have in the pipe. But if you guys have any ideas, let me know.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm always down to go there. I have never said no to going over there, dude.
No way, dude. This shit.
Let me see. Show it.
Let me share it. What the fuck?
It's incredible. It's incredible.
All right.
Look, so what's on the left is the wax.
Wait, look. This one's better. Hold on.
That looks like a real dude. Oh my god.
Dude, that's fucking funny, bro.
That's a fake thing?
The one on the left is the fake. The one on the right is real.
That's crazy, dude. Yeah, I'm not sure if that guy's human.
So dude. I'm down to go over there, bro. I'm down.
Shoot me an idea, though. What do you got? Shoot me an idea. One idea. Give me one. Each of you, give me one.
Movie list.
Favorite X amount of movies or whatever. Favorite horror movies, something like that.
But something that's pretty, that we can tap into that's pretty popular. People like fucking love a lot, like the Quentin Tarantino shit. That was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my wife were watching before we got on here Django.
Hell yeah. A weird thing in Django, historical inaccuracies, sunglasses. Django's always wearing sunglasses in the movie, right? Like those didn't really, they existed, but it was like only people with a medical condition were prescribed them. Like people weren't just pimping fucking sunglasses in that era. I can't even put mine on. That's how ripped I am. People weren't just fucking sporting sunglasses, dude, back in that era. That's a historical inaccuracy if you want to fucking nitpick at that movie.
Discrepancy.
It's kind of brutal with the fucking beating of the slaves and shit in that movie. How about you, Tank? There's a lot of NFL scandals, dude, going on. The Commanders and Dan Snyder, Deshaun Watson. Quietly, the NFL is trying to arbitrate Flores case. All these NFL players, former and some current, are dying. Have you heard about all this shit?
Dude, you had Tony Saragusa die, and then a kid.
Yeah, dude. The goose, dude.
Goose
However, not the perfect picture of health, right? Like nobody's like, oh my god,
dude, he
right?
was 93, bro.
No, not Saragusa. The other guy was 93. Saragusa was, I think, not even 60.
Dude, by the way, that guy who was 93,
Yeah.
I popped up some video of him. He was a white dude. I've never really seen him play.
Running back.
Hugh McElhaney. Dude, watch his YouTube video. He's like a time traveler. It's like who's that guy from the Panthers?
McCaffrey.
Cam Newton.
They put him back in time. Dude, he's a great running back.
He's like Christian McCaffrey.
McCaffrey?
He was a giant, right?
He was.
Oh, always injured?
He was
hot girlfriend.
No, he was a 49er, dude.
Okay, I thought it was a New
But
York.
if you look, dude, his runs are unbelievable. I'm watching this dude from the 40s running like he was run. There's a particular run where he's Derrick Henry throwing someone off.
Anybody
what I
see
think we should
Obi-Wan
do?
Kenobi?
I think we should go through every NFL champion season.
We haven't done that before.
Yeah.
Did anybody watch Obi-Wan Kenobi?
No.
All right.
Dude, I actually watched Stranger Things. She finished the whole thing in like fucking 3 days.
Oh wow! Like from season 1.
Yeah.
And
I gotta catch up.
What did she think?
Oh, she fucking hates it.
Damn, but she kept watching it.
Nah, she likes it, dude.
Although this last season had a Freddy Krueger vibe in it.
Yep.
Their kids are too old, dude.
I can't. 7, I've come to find out she's like super stuck up in real life, and now I can't.
You mean 11?
Whatever.
No, there's a 7 in there, so
Oh, really?
maybe he's talking about her.
The one that's the bald head girl.
Yeah, 11.
Yeah,
Millie Bobby Brown.
She's too stuck up, dude.
Yeah.
I can't deal with it.
She is.
Hanging out with Drake and shit. I don't get all that shit.
Drake's a scumbag, dude. He's been fucking grooming her for years, I think.
Relax, bro. Okay.
Sorry, dude. All right. The Hinckley. That's the last thing I had. You guys know who Hinckley is?
Hinckley.
Of course, bro. Of course. I heard they released him from the mental institution. He's the guy that shot. He's the guy that shot Reagan.
Yeah, and then he said it was for Jodie Foster and shit or something.
Well, dude, that movie was pretty influential, dude. Like, if you didn't see that and go fucking stir crazy.
You talking about Taxi?
Taxi Driver?
Taxi Driver. You looking at me?
Travis Binkle, right? Or something like that.
Yeah, Travis Barker. Oh no, that's
Barker or something like that. But
No,
he's
dude, Travis Barker.
Bickle.
Travis Barker is the fucking drummer, dude.
I know, dude. It was a joke, bro.
Oh, sorry.
But he's doing like concerts, dude.
No, he was gonna do like a charity concert.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Pretty bad idea, dude.
They canceled them, right?
Yeah, they canceled it.
Yeah,
cancel culture. Hey, cancel culture has died out, right? Yeah.
Has it, or are the people who potentially could be canceled just stay quiet more? I think
I've seen they've like countered it, right? Like Netflix said, like
there's definitely a pushback.
Yeah. Netflix said that they didn't care what the people thought. Like they weren't gonna take Dave Chappelle off. Like that was one of the main ones.
Yeah, they were like, dude, if you don't really like our content,
don't work here. Or something
you shouldn't work here, which is good, dude. It's a private business. They could do it. It got to be too much, dude. It's just like, I also do think, like what Freddie said, like some people are realizing we could cancel anybody, really, if we just fucking look deep enough. Maybe it's me that they'll cancel next time. You know what I mean? Like, why, you know?
Oh, they can cancel all of us, bro.
Dude,
I mean, that was theoretical. I wasn't talking about me personally, but just in general, like anybody, dude. Nobody's fucking closet is clean of skeletons.
Dude, there are things that I said like when I was a kid to like people that if there was a cell phone around, I would be totally lit up, man. Like I would be completely lit up by the internet if it was around.
The one I find craziest is use of the N-word with an A at the end in hip-hop and rap music. So the fact that you could go right now on Spotify and queue up any music that says that a lot in some cases, but you cannot sing that song if you're not black is kind of crazy too, right? You know, like, all right, it's a song. Can I quote this song? No. You, wait a second. No, you can't. Oh, you can. It's kind of crazy. You know
Dude, it's crazy. And when we were in middle school, because I started thinking like in high school it started to fucking die down, but in middle school everybody was throwing that shit out.
Yeah, dude.
Everybody.
But it was not derogatory. You would say it to like a friend. You know, like, hey, what's up? You know,
hey, fucking, you know.
Yeah, exactly. It's just the times
You
change.
fucking
Yeah, no. If you're caught on video saying that, bro, forget it, bro.
Yeah,
I'm
dude.
your life is over.
It's career suicide.
dude, 100%. So no, dude, I'm super cool. Like I'll think of some things to talk about, but you know, dude, we could, you know, we'll freestyle stuff
We
out.
can free ball it.
Yeah, dude, that's what we did. We used to free ball a lot of times.
Yeah. So you know,
Hey, all of you guys would free ball together?
Yeah, we were.
I don't think he's talking about that. But,
we're free balling and teabagging.
yeah, just like a general. We'll get a general outline of something, and then we'll do it, dude. I want to do something in the studio soon because we have it all set up and working right now, and it'll be fun, dude. It's
Dude,
fun.
the only thing I have is dude, where you live is so fucking dark. When I'm driving out of there, I feel like a body's gonna pop out of somewhere. Bro, your place is crazy, dude.
Nah.
You don't think so? His place is crazy dark. There's nothing going on around there.
It's out there. All right, guys. We're 2.5 hours in. Shout out to Ben from Central Utah Paranormal. I'm happy he did educate us a little bit on the Mormon thing. I always wanted to get into that with him, and I never really did until now. That was cool to learn about that too. Ogre, shout out to Ogre coming on, asking the ghost-related questions, sharing some of his stories. Tank doing his thing over there, and me, I was just drinking bourbon and smoking cigars.
Yeah, dude.
Dude,
Anything else you guys want to get off the chest before we get out of here?
No, man, I'm all good, bro. I've had a great time. This is probably the best Zoom that I've done here in like forever. Fucking fantastic.
Hell yeah. All right, guys, let's get the fuck out of here.
All right, Tank. All right, man. I'll
Yeah,
see you guys
dude.
around.